came back.
That's a G53, and I swear that bitch go bang. Every time your shit come out, she cut it up. It's only one of me, you cannot touch my brain. You just can't. I'm with all my guys, these bitches ain't in our lane. Man, I'm a high school dropout, now I'm breaking the bank. Only hit your hoe one time, I love something. Gang, we got sticks in this bitch when he sliding on my stain. We ain't in a double R truck, got a big ass tank. How you find yourself trying to come up off my thing? And I never do that shit to you cause it's lame. Yeah, dude, you just got locked up, man, free the boy out of the chain. And I love that nigga that day, he'll catch me a break. Nigga bitch cheating on you, talk my bitch, better not do that shit. I'ma lose my shit. My nigga got a stick, I ain't even gotta say he gon' do that shit. He gon' shoot that bitch, big ass FM, but it's still gon' do all that shit. Got a lot of shit, I've been through bust like 10 times, I don't do all that shit. And it's crazy how a nigga came up cause I called it. Big lock on my side, take precautions. Filling my cup up with mud cause I'm ballin'. It's so crazy how I made it, I caught it. Remember when I couldn't get up in college? I'ma still hear this hawk, meaning much got mileage. Pray to look up every night, I'm so righteous. Running from demons, I'm so tired of fighting. She must be off for something cause she wildin'. If my brother needed it, he know he got it. On the hood, by speed and running the bottom. Got the G53 and I swear that bitch go bang. Every time your shit come out, she cutting it off. It's only one of me, you cannot touch my brain. You just can't. I'm with all my guys, these bitches ain't.
What's up? What's up? What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Do y'all hear me, chat? We're back at it again, man, with this great topic today, ladies and gentlemen. Salute to everybody that's come over there and watching. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all smash the like button. We got Scap Attack in the building, Mr. Moz, my boy Tony C. I don't know why you can't see Tony C, but he's in here too as well. And myself. We got to get into these topics, man. We got to get into the hottest topic right now, the MVP, right, between SGA and Nikola Jokic. You know what I'm saying? I want to start with Scap because Scap has made it publicly clear that Jokic should be leading this race and it shouldn't even be close. Scap, can you explain to us about that?
Yeah, first of all, I do want to just preface this debate or whatever, this conversation. I want to preface it with the fact that when Nikola Jokic was cheated out of the 2023 MVP award, I was very critical of Joel Embiid and of that selection. That will not be the case this year. While I think Jokic is the deserving and realistically should be the league MVP, I have nothing but the utmost respect for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's one of my favorite players in today's NBA. In fact, if you wanted to go to my channel, Scap Attack, I did a video in September, which nobody watched. It had very few views, but it was well before the tip-off of this regular season in late October. In that video, I lay out why the Thunder would be historically great this year, why their defense would be historically great, why Shai would win the league MVP, why the Thunder would win the NBA championship, and why it would be the beginning of a dynastic hold on the NBA by the Oklahoma City Thunder. So going into the season, my full expectation was that SGA would win the league MVP because I thought there would be some inherent fatigue on the behalf of Jokic. I thought that the Thunder would win significantly more games than the Nuggets would. And I thought that Shai would have a fantastic season. All of those things have come to fruition and panned out this year. But what I wasn't expecting was for Nikola Jokic to have his greatest season of all time by far, one of the 5 best seasons in league history. So things have changed to me. While I still think the Thunder will easily win the NBA championship this year, while I think that this will still be the beginning of a dynastic grasp on the league by Shai and by the Thunder, there's no doubt that Nikola Jokic is unequivocally the most valuable player in the league. And why do I think that? And we can get into it, and I'll hash it out throughout the conversation. But why? There's 2 ways I think that you can gauge like who you want to give this award to. Who is the MVP? Because a lot of it, we're talking about semantics and defining things and identifying like what certain things mean to us, because there's really no clear-cut definition of MVP or what that means. So to me, you can look at an impact a player has on their team, so the amount of value they deliver their team, or you can just say, who's the best player in the world, right? So those are two different things. Like, who is the best player on the planet, in the league, and who delivers the most value to their individual team? Who uplifts their supporting cast more? Like, to me, that's value. But if you also want to say, well, so-and-so's just the best, so he's the best player. So to me, though, Nikola Jokic is both. Nikola Jokic is not only the best player on the planet, he delivers the most value to his team as well. So to me, it's a slam dunk case. I understand he's not going to win it. We can debate it here and it'll be fun to have the conversation. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will declaratively be the MVP this year. He will win the MVP. And unlike I said, I started my little spiel off here, whereas Joel Embiid to me was a bum. Maybe not then, but he is. I think he has exposed himself since winning that MVP. That ain't the case with Shai. Shai is a phenomenal player, a terrific ambassador for the sport of basketball. I love watching him. I look forward to seeing him dominate for several years to come. And I won't kill him for getting this award, but I still think it should be Nikola Jokic.
Maj, you want to start?
Yeah, I can go, man. We can't change the criteria of the MVP, which has been changed year to year.
What's your criteria?
The most valuable player. To me, it's not the best player. It's the most valuable player. What player deals with the most? How do you
measure value though?
Your impact on and off the ball, your teammates, making guys better. Are you a two-way player? Are you available? Are you consistent? Are you a leader? I mean, all those things to me play a role. And it just seems like the MVP award, the criteria has changed year to year. OKC has, like, I think, if I'm not mistaken, has like 3 or 4 guys averaging in double figures, while Denver has 5. Joker's next best scorer is 21 points a game. Same for Shai with Dub, 21 points a game. But then you dip down to Michael Porter Jr., who's at 18 points a game. OKC doesn't have that. Not to mention, Chet's missed half the season. J-Dub's missed time. Hornstein's missed time. And so, and listen, I mean, this recent road trip, Scott, if that didn't prove he's MVP on that brutal road trip, Boston, Detroit, you know what I'm saying? He's still dropping 40 balls, right? Making it look easy, still making his guys look better. Oh, and by the way, SGA leads his team in steals. And so he's a two-way player. He's a two-way player. And so, again, I thought value is the definition of MVP is I'm missing my second best player, right? And the train keeps going. The train doesn't go off the tracks. It's funny. When Jamal Murray misses games or he's not there for long stretches, this Denver Nugget team struggles, right? It's not the same offense. It's not the same defense, right? OKC Thunder are having a historic defensive year. Denver's not doing that. I just saw Joker score 56 points and grab you 15 rebounds versus the Wizards back in December. Empty stats. They lose the game. You know what I'm saying? They lose the game. While Shai's on the road versus Boston, giving Jalen and Jason Tatum 40 balls. And they have no answer for him. And so, again, I think Joker is an amazing player, but why do we not value both sides of the court, offense and defense, right? Joker has no rim protection whatsoever. It's an open highway lane to the basket, right? And there's something to be said that SGA is making guys like Hornstein look good, because to me, value is empowering your teammates, making your teammates better, right? He's getting the best out of role players, right? That's an MVP, not just the best player. If it's the best player, then MJ and Kobe should have like 10 apiece, and they don't. And so, in my opinion, Mookie and Scott, we're changing the criteria. We're changing the criteria, and to me, it's not fair.
I agree. I think we are changing the criteria, and this is the thing too. It's like you Jokic fans can't have it both ways. You can't sit there and say that, oh yeah, the reason that he won the MVP in 2000, I believe 2022, he won his first MVP, 21-22, because he was missing Jamal Murray for majority of the year, right? Or the whole year, right? Michael Porter Jr. was missing for half the year as well, right? He led his team to a 6 seed, Bro, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been missing, you know what I'm saying, his second best player for majority of the season. He only played 20 games, right? Lou Dort has been missing games, right? His secondary creator is still hurt to this day. And yet he leading his team to the number 1 seed, right? He's averaging 34.5 points per game per 75 possessions, with a plus 6.6 relative true shooting percentage. Now, when we looking at SGA and we look at Nikola Jokic, why do y'all ignore the defensive side of the basketball? Scap, you are a Kobe fan. You have to make the argument between Kobe and LeBron because of the defensive side of the ball. Jokic is one of the worst defensive players in the NBA, ladies and gentlemen, and the on and off proves it. When Nikola Jokic is on the floor, ladies and gentlemen, right, there are a negative 2.4 defensive unit. That means he lowers the ceiling of his team defensively. They are a worse defensive unit when he's on the court. Meanwhile, when you're looking at SGA, they're plus 7.6. So when you're looking at a guy this year that has led the NBA win shares per 48, who's led the lead in win shares, who led the lead in defensive win shares, and second the lead in blocks plus minus, while also shooting 70% at the rim, while also shooting 50% from the mid-range, right? And he is not a liability defensively, and he is ceiling raising the Oklahoma City Thunder offense and defense, right?
Correct.
That is the MVP right there.
Okay. Is it me? Is it my turn? Can I tag back in here? I've heard a lot. I'm ready. I have a lot of information here. First of all, I started my little diatribe before with how much I appreciate Shai and value him. Let me now tell you how much I appreciate defense and two-way players. My top 5 all-time players are Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Tim Duncan, and Hakeem Olajuwon. Those are my top 5 all time because they constitute to me the best two-way players, elite offensive players, elite defensive players, great winners. So you don't have to explain to me how important the defensive side of the ball is. But you brought up some advanced analytics, and I'm glad you did, Mookie, because I've got a lot of advanced stats here. Nikola Jokic, when you look at defensive box plus minus this year, defensive box plus minus is second in the NBA, above Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. When you look at his defensive win share, Shai is higher. Shai is like third, I believe, but Jokic is 14th in that. So this is out of 430 qualified players. Now sometimes advanced metrics do lie, but the net rating and the per 100 possession ratings do not lie. So defensive net rating, which measures how many points your team allows when you're on the floor per 100 possessions, that really does bear it out. Like, that's not going to tell a fib, if you will. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is third league-wide in that metric. He's the third-rated net defensive player in the league. Number 1 and 2 are Isaiah Hartenstein and Jalen Williams, and another Thunder teammate, I think Wallace, is 4th. So the top 4 net-rated defenders league-wide this year are all on Oklahoma City. Nikola Jokic, while not 3rd or 10th or 14th like he is in those other advanced defensive metrics, is 28th league-wide in defensive net rating. So therefore, when he's on the floor, he is the 28th best player out of like 438 qualified players in points per 100 possessions that his team allows. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Well, his teammates must be making him look good. Look at the next highest player on that metric. Defensive net rating that Nikola Jokic has this year is Russell Westbrook at 91. The next best player is Peyton Watson at 99. And the 4th best rated defender on Nikola Jokic's team is Jamal Murray at 135th, while Nikola Jokic is sitting at 28th. So to say, I'm not even saying he's a great defender, but to say that he is terrible or costing his team on that end is such a lie. It is such a narrative that's totally untrue. And Nikola Jokic is tied with Shai for 4th in steals per game right now. He's tied league-wide 4th in the NBA with Shai. He is leading the league in defensive rebounds, so he is leading the league at that metric and controlling the glass. Now, is he a rim protector in the way that Shai is an elite on-ball defender? Of course not. But Shai's not really called to do that. Last year, in the entire 2023-2024 NBA season, in isolation defense, Lou Dort was the number 1 ranked guy in taking the opponent's top ball handler and defending him in ISO. Number 2 rated last year league-wide was Alex Caruso, who the Thunder got in free agency. The Thunder have an insane amount of elite, high-end defensive players. So before we even get into the value of it all, which I have a hell of a lot to say on that side of it, I just wanted to address the defensive side of it and try to expose some of these just disingenuous narratives that have been percolating around, that Jokic is some kind of putrid defender or a negative defender for his team or costing his team. His team is lousy. You can make a legitimate case. He's the best defender on his team, whereas Shai has like a series of great defenders on his team. But we don't have to bog down because I do have some things to address from a value standpoint.
All right, let me address this, chat. First of all, this is why we gotta just watch the games with our eyes. We gotta look at the game. We gotta break it down.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? We gotta get our eyeglasses.
Dive deep in the water.
Well, part of the reason why Kobe is in your top 2 or top 3 is mainly because of the eye test. Because we're looking at from an accolade standpoint. I mean, he kind of don't stack up to the top 3 and top 4 players from just basically from an accolade standpoint. But you bring up the eye test. But let's get back.
Most all NBA defensive first teams for Kobe Bryant. Second most all NBA first teams for Kobe Bryant.
Well, Phil Jackson said he shouldn't win some of them all defensive team selections. But let's get to this, right? Scab, I gotta ask you a question. How is defensive box plus minus calculated?
Oh, but look, I said analytics can lie. From like DPM and defensive win share, fine.
So why are you saying the analytic rating though?
Defensive net rating though does not lie. Defensive net rating is points per 100 possessions that your team allows with you on the floor. He's 28th best league wide.
Scab, you cannot mention a advanced analytic when you don't even know how it's calculated. You don't even know what's the formula going into these advanced analytics.
Box plus minus is a testament of totality of the overall box score and the impact to that on winning games. That's box plus minus.
Okay, but with box plus minus take into account of steals, blocks, and defensive rebounds, right? Raw box sheet doesn't tell you about good positional defense. It doesn't tell you forcing tough shots. It doesn't tell you being elite level rim protector. It doesn't tell you how you good as a switchable defender, how you good as a drop defender, how you good at rotating weak side, being able to maintain proper position. Because you wouldn't sit there and say that Nikola Jokic is a better defender than Ivica Zubac.
No.
But he has a higher box plus minus. That's when you know the advanced analytics is very, very flawed. I do not when you're watching advanced analytics where we're looking at Nikola Jokic's defense. He is a layup line to the basket.
He's not.
We have seen Alex Starr cook him. Alex Starr has been struggling. His rookie year has been overwhelming. He has been terrible this year. Alex Starr came to Nikola Jokic and dropped 34 points on him. What's cooking him? Man, the Lakers without LeBron James and Luka scored damn near 100-something points against him. And Austin Reeves, guys were literally taking him off the dribble. Guys were literally getting to the rim.
Zubac cooked him too.
Zubac was cooking him. I mean, we seeing below average centers give Jokic the business because how bad he is defense. It's no effort. He is a layup.
Don't forget about Rudy Gobert.
Bro, teams shoot above average, way above average, over the league plus 10 when Nikola Jokic is rim protecting. His rim protecting is so bad. Now, you want to bring up the point sitting there saying, well, SGA has better defenders. Well, that's why it's more.
A lot better. Much better.
I'll give you that.
And they were, and these last year,
What I got to do with him?
Hartenstein was the third-rated net defender last year without Oklahoma City.
Right.
Alex Caruso was first-team All-NBA 2 years ago. He's second-team All-NBA last. Like Shai isn't he's not asked to defend the other guys, elite players.
Hold on, Scap. I'm not denying that. We know that SGA has better defenders. This is what we talk about, the ceiling raising. That means that you can still up the level of the defense even when you have good talent around you. Nikola Jokic, when he had guys like KCP, Aaron Gordon, what's that guy that went to the Indiana Pacers?
Bruce Brown.
Bruce Brown, right? He lowered that ceiling of that defense. That means that when he was on the court, they was a worse defensive unit when Nikola Jokic was on the court with those great comparable defenders. SGA is able to raise the ceiling of the defense. That's why when all the players that you have named, they don't have a better on and off defensive rating than when Shai is on the court. Shai on and off is plus 7.6. That means when he's on the court, the defense is better 7.6 out of the times that these other players on the court. That's just individual on and off. So even if Jokic still have those great defenders, he will still lower the ceiling of the defense because he is the weak link that teams attack him in space where they have to come over there, heads to pick and rolls. You got Shai that's getting down the hill, other guys that are getting down the hill to the paint against Nikola Jokic, right? They're consistently getting action and putting Jokic high up on the pick and rolls on ball screens and getting down the hill, which guys have to come over there and help, which put a team in the rotational issues that they somehow can't fix. So,
Scapatak. So, you Chet Holmgren only has played 24 games this season. Hartenstein's played 48 games, and Alex Caruso has played 45 games. How does OKC still have a historic defense?
Listen, Jalen Williams, guys. Hold on.
I just asked you a question.
Hold on.
All right.
Right now, among qualified players in the NBA, the two advanced metrics I look at are box plus minus and value over replacement. Those are the top two metrics to me that I look at, and also net rating on and off. Though to me, those are the three kings. For among qualified players in the top 72, the Oklahoma City Thunder have 6 players in the top 72 in BPM and VORP. Okay, that's not counting Chet Holmgren because he's not qualified because of the amount of games he's played. If you count his BPM and VORP, he is a 7th player in the top 72. But we won't even count him because he's only played 24 games. But that's 5 other teammates on Oklahoma City other than Shai, who is 2nd in VORP and BPM. 5 other guys in the top 72. Jokic leads the NBA over Shai in both BPM and VORP. They're the next best player on his team in box plus minus. You have to go down to Jamal Murray at 80th. The 80th guy, and it's about the same in VORP. So literally, you've got Jokic at 1 in VORP and BPM. His next best teammate is around 80th. Whereas the Oklahoma City Thunder have 6 other guys, and Chet would be a 7th in the top 70. Like, Jalen Williams is 16th-ish in both of those. So the amount of teammates, supporting cast, that regardless of Chet Holmgren being out for most of the season and playing only 24 games, the amount of supporting cast that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has had to work with is undeniably better. And let me drop this final stat on you, which will absolutely, guys, we've only been on for whatever, like 20 minutes, but this is literally, I might as well drop my microphone after I make this point, and we might as well just shut it down because there will be no answer for this. Do you want to answer my other points there, the BPM and the VORP and the supporting cast and that level first? Because you mentioned point per game, but there's more than just scoring points per game that goes into winning games and value of winning games. The Thunder, again, 6 players total in the top 72 in BPM. The Nuggets 1 in the top 79, and that's Jokic at 1. And then the next best player is Jamal Murray at 80th. That point will tie into my microphone dropping moment here. But let me let you guys get in here and make some points before I deliver this critical knockout blow to you.
Yeah, what I want to say is this, man. Chet's missed 24 games. Alex, because you mentioned Alex and Hartenstein, and those guys haven't been played 50
and Dort
games.
and Williams.
And so, hold on. Yeah. So I know, but you mentioned Caruso and Hartenstein, so I'm using those two guys.
Because hold on. Mr. Moss, let me just slide this. The reason I brought them up is because you guys were talking about ceiling risers and that Shai is making all of these other guys look better on defense than they actually are. But I wanted to point Hartenstein and Caruso out because we have seen a sample of them last year without Shai, and they were both top 3 net rated positional players last year.
But hold on. But Scott, they're on and off. That means that they're the way that the defense performs when they're on the court. They wasn't higher than Shai. So yes, you can sit there and say that yes, when Shai is on the court, their box plus minus can be good. It's because the box plus minus basically look at raw stats, steals, blocks, deflections, rebounds, all of that. Well, when Shai is on the court, as good as he is as a trail defender, as good as he is positional wise, he's able to elevate his team and be able to produce those box plus minus. Because I then have to ask you is this: if those players are making Shai great defensively and stuff like that, right? Then why is their on and off not better than Shai? When Shai is on the court, they're 6.5 better when he's on the court defensively. Name me Shai's second best defender. Go ahead.
Okay, hang on.
Name me Shai's second best defender, Scott.
The whole team is great. Every player on that team is a great defender.
Stop. I asked you, name me his second best defender.
Probably, I would say Dort and Chet Holmgren are the 2 best defenders on that team.
Okay, Lou Dort. We're gonna pull up Lou Dort. Because if Lou Dort is what you said he is, right, his on and off should be better. So we're gonna pull up Lou Dort. Lukey Dort. Let's go play up Lou Dort. His on and off defense is 4.1. So that means that SGA is higher from an on and off perspective. That means when he is on the court individually, his team performs when he's on the court. That's when we talking about ceiling raising, Scott. We're talking about skill. We're not talking about raw box plus minus. We ain't talking about the steals, assists, the block. We ain't talking about.
Wait, Mookie, hang on. You're talking about on-off numbers, right? That's what you're bringing to me on-off, which happens to be great because that is my point that I want to bring up. And both of you get your cell phones ready, get your computers ready, because this is an absolute conversation ender. All right. You brought us here. So thank you, Mookie. Thank you so much for delivering me to this point, to make this point by you yourself talking about how important the on-offs are and how important that is, like, per 100 possessions, because that's exactly what you're talking about. And that speaks exactly to what point I want to make. Mm-hmm. When you look at net rating for league-wide teams, net rating, the Oklahoma City Thunder are far and away the best net rated team. Let me explain to you what net rating is. Just exactly what you're talking about. Per 100 possessions, better or worse, how many points per 100 possessions do you make your team, whatever, right? League-wide, the Thunder have the best net rated team by a lot. They're like 12.8 or something like that. Shai's individual net rating, so his on-off for 6, this takes into account offense and defense, okay? The total amount of points your team allows and gives up when you're on the floor versus not. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has like a 16.8 individual net rating. Incredible. League best in the league. Okay, you got me. He's better than Jokic by a lot. Like, Jokic is like 11 right now in net rating. Shai is at like 16.5. My God, you got me. But see, here's the thing. With Shai off the court, and I'm not talking about flukish games they miss, one game here. Shai's missed 3. Jokic has missed 9. The Thunder 2-1 with Shai out of the game for the year. The Nuggets are 3-6 without Jokic. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about all year long. Every single second the team has played, the data with them, what they do with Jokic on and off, what they do with Shai on and off. So while, yes, Shai 16.8 points net rating per 100 possessions cumulatively that he adds on offense, disallows on defense, is number one and significantly higher than Jokic. But the 100 possessions per game on average, based on the data all season long, without Shai, they're like plus 4.5. That's the net rating of the team without Shai at all. Now, where would that 4.5 rank league-wide, though? That would be the 7th best net rated team in the entire NBA. So if you just remove Shai from the team completely this year, they would have a higher net rating than the Denver Nuggets and the LA Lakers, who are both in contention for the 2 seed in the Western Conference. They're both going to win 50 games this year. So if you remove Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from the Thunder, this is from an all season long running average of them with him and without him, and averaged out per 100 possessions. They would be, without Shai, would be on pace to win 50 games and be in contention for the 2 seed in the conference. Now let's look at Jokic. While Jokic is only about 10.7-ish on individual net rating versus the 16.5 of Shai, when you remove Jokic per 100 possessions, the Denver Nuggets drop to minus 7.5. Now, where would that put the Denver Nuggets if you just took Nikola Jokic off the team? Well, 4th worst in the entire league, above only Washington, Utah, and Charlotte. Those teams right now are sitting with 15, 16, and 18 wins. They ain't going to get to 20, boys. So what we have without Shai on the Thunder all year, an aggregate ranking of a 50-win team. So yes, the Thunder will win 67 or 68. Kudos to Shai. He's added 17 games. Hold on, let me finish. Let me finish. He has added 17 games. That is valuable as freaking hell. But when you look at the Denver Nuggets without Nikola Jokic, they're an 18 or 19 win team. They're going to win 50. So he has added 30 over expected. That is what your numbers show. The numbers that you just try to cook me. And I see these stupid freaking comments here. Cook. The numbers that you think you just used to cook me, I sauteed you two with. I ended it. Like, you can look it up. Please, all look up, everyone out there watching in YouTube land. Look up net rating for the Denver Nuggets without Nikola Jokic, with net rating for the Thunder without Shai. It's a 50-win team for the Thunder. It's a 19-win team for the Nuggets. We're talking about the Nuggets who are going to win 50 games.
Time out. First of all, to use a hypothetical of if we move Jokic off the Nuggets per 100 possessions, they're like one of the worst teams, and we move Shai per 100 possessions. First of all,
they're one of the 7 best teams.
Hold on. Don't
they're
use
7th best without Shai.
There's not There's not 100 possessions in basketball, so using per 100 possessions is very far. Now, number one,
how many possessions are there this year? How many possessions per game are there this year?
I think it's like around I think it's like on an average it's about around like 75.
No
so
way.
Use person 75 possessions. That's probably the possessions.
But I'm gonna look it up right now for us.
Well, let me say this right quick. The reason why Nikola Jokic on and off is better than SGA is because that Jokic played majority of his minutes, Scott, with the starters. You got to understand that Mike Malone staggers the lineups in favor for Nikola Jokic. They don't have no backup big, right? They don't have a strong bench unit. So, of course, his on and off numbers going to look better than Shai because, yes, Jokic is a good floor raiser. He's a better floor raiser than SGA, but he doesn't raise the ceiling of his team. See, Jokic is a heliocentric style of player. That means that he has to have 100 touches per game to have effect within the offense, right? To a point where the offense dropped drastically with him off the floor as well. See, you can use that same argument.
Hang on, Mookie.
Wait. Go ahead.
Mookie, I have the answer. The team that averages the most possessions per game this year is 107.1 by Memphis, and the lowest paced team is Orlando at 100. So league average this year is somewhere around 103 possessions per night in the NBA this year, and I'm reducing it to 100 possessions per game. So it is essentially an estimate of an entire game with and without.
No, I'm talking about an individual player because the player don't play 100 possessions.
No, but I'm saying in a basketball game though, right? They don't play 100 possessions, but what would they do per the 100 possessions average out for the entire year?
What's the player average per possession?
But average players. Mookie, my point is, it doesn't matter what the player average is. It's normalizing all. It's taking all of the metrics every second they've played all year, and it is dividing the average into if they did. That's why
I sat there and said that's just disingenuous because not a
lot.
But
Mookie, you just used that. You just used the per 100 possession.
No, I did not. No, I did not. Hold on. I didn't use per.
You did.
On and off. On and off is not per 100 possessions.
It is.
No, it's not.
On and off is a per 100 possession metric.
On and off takes account. I'm gonna get the actual. On and off, it provides the data on how the team performs with the player on the court, off the court, and the difference the team
per 100 possessions.
It's not per 100 possessions.
It is.
No, it's not. It's per 75 possessions. It's not per 100 possessions.
That's not.
It's basically taking how well the said team performs when he's on the court, and then how the team performs when the said player is off the court as well. Now, let me get back to my point. I'm not denying that Nikola Jokic is a better floor raiser than SGA because he is, right? But the argument is, Scott, and I'm about to put the nail in the goddamn coffin, put you in the body bag, my brother, right? When Jokic is on the court, yes, his team is competing, but SGA's net rating is better from a whole team, from an offense and defense perspective, right? From a net rating perspective. When Jokic is off the floor, yes, his team drops drastically because Mike Malone staggered his minutes, putting him mostly with the starters as well. And Denver does not have a real bench, and their center is not really, they don't have a backup, real true backup center. So yes, his on and off is going to look better than SGA. But SGA can raise the ceiling. That's why he has a better net rating than Nikola Jokic as well. And you sat there and said that Nikola Jokic should have won the MVP last year. But you can use the same argument for Luka Doncic. When Luka Doncic is not on the court, his team dropped drastically. So using a hypothetical and see what a team is going to perform when he's on the court, facing up to other teams that where they're going to compete in the league 50-win team, that's not how basketball works. Because we all know that Shai, from an offensive burden that what he has, his secondary creator is J-Dub. J-Dub has regressed. If you look at his shooting split stat, and you compare it from last year to this year, he's all regressed. His numbers have gone all the way down. Shai has had the responsibilities of being the advantage creator, the playmaker, being the reliable scorer. And name me the creator does he have on his team on offense, Scott? That's your Jamal Murray. Name it. Dude, is Shai playing with the most efficient cutters in the league? No. Jokic is. Right?
No, he's not. So Jokic has never played with none of these guys have ever been an all-star ever.
Eric Gordon is the most efficient cutter in the NBA. He was that
based on what? Based
off on a per possession standpoint. If you go on Synergy Sports, this is where I get my numbers to cook you, Scott. He's been the most efficient cutter in the NBA before.
How many all-star teams has he made? How many All-NBA teams has he made?
Man.
Where does he rank in PPM and PER?
That's hold on, Scap.
Hold on, Mookie. Hold on, because you guys just told me how many games. Hold on, you guys just told me how many games Chet missed this year. How many games has Gordon missed?
Come on, Scap.
How many games has Gordon missed this year? 30.
You don't even know what. Hold on. You don't even know what defensive box plus minus on how that break down. You trying to tell me about PER? Stop mentioning analytics that you don't even know how it's calculated. You know that it's flawed. You literally try to pull up PER and box plus minus for you to call the Jokic defense. When we watch with our two eyes, the nigga is ass. He's trash. So when I look at XGA and when I look at Nikola Jokic, right, and you compare two of those players, right, Scap, can you ever name me a time where someone that is on pace of winning 67 games, that is missing their second best player for majority of the year, their third best player has been hurt, and he's not winning MVP. Usually those players have lost the MVP when other teams have won 70-plus games. They're not giving MVP to Nikola Jokic.
Just last year, like blind resume. This is a blind resume, all right? 65 wins, I think it was. 27 points per game, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. Best record in the NBA, number 1 seed in their conference. Like, that should be an MVP, you think, right? Let me say it again. 27 points per game, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 65 wins, number 1
talking
seed
about Jason Tatum.
That's Jason Tatum last year. All right, he didn't even finish top 3. But this
is the problem. In order to win the MVP, you have to have a dominant season. As good as Jason Tatum was, and I respect Jason Tatum, he didn't have a dominant statistical season the way that Jokic and Shai had, right? And Boston had the best team in the NBA. So in order to be able to do that, you have to have a dominant season while also winning 67 to 70 games. You cannot sit there and say that Nikola Jokic is on pace to surpass the SGA in MVP voting when this team is losing to teams like the Wizards. He's getting smoked by teams that he ain't supposed to.
They just lost by 20 points to Portland without him. Portland was just without like 2 or 3 starters. Okay, Portland, a team that is like 32 and 39 on the year. We're missing 2 or 3 of their starters, and Nikola Jokic was the only guy that was out for Denver. They lost by 20. Not only did they lose by 20, they were like 2-point underdogs against Portland without Jokic a tip, despite the fact the Blazers were missing like 2 or 3 starters of their own. Now, the Oklahoma City Thunder are under investigation right now by the league offices for rules violations because they sat out 6 players on March 7th when they played Portland. 6 players they sat out, including Shai and every other one of the 5 starters. So all 5 starters sat out when the Thunder played. They won by 20 points. So they win by 20 without the whole starting 5, and just Jokic sits against Portland, who is also missing 2 or 3 starters, and they win by 20. Okay.
Why you don't talk about how they beat the Golden State? Hold on. Why you don't talk about how they beat the Golden State Warriors? Right.
That did happen.
Healthy, and they've been one of the hottest team in the league, and they beat the Golden State Warriors. Why you don't talk about that without Nikola Jokic?
Fair. Nope. Let's talk about the 9 total games he's missed, though, Mookie. They're 3-6. Okay, fair. They beat Golden State without Nikola Jokic. They were on a roll. But let's look at the total 9 games that Nikola Jokic has missed this year. They're 3-6. And for people that are saying 75, I see there's a lot of 75 and 100 confusion in the comments. Net rating and standard on-off, if you go to NBA reference or basketballreference.com, on-off is a measurement of per 100 possessions. If you're looking at 75, whatever. I'll have to just go look at your whatever 75 per 75 you're looking at measurements. But I do want to touch on your net rating point real fast because you brought up how again you keep bringing these things up. You brought up net rating and how Shai has a better individual net rating. But he doesn't. If you look at the total net rating, which takes into account the differential when he's on versus off, and Jokic on or off, Jokic's total net rating is higher. Shai's is, again, they're like plus 4.5 without Shai. They're plus 16.5 with Shai. So it's like a net of 12, whereas Jokic is like plus 11 when he's on and minus 7 when he's off. So the net is like 18. So he's adding more per 100%. He's adding more from a possession standpoint than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So
when he's on the court,
one final point, I'll turn it back over. I don't like advanced metrics. If you want me to be totally honest, I have Kobe Bryant as my second best player ever. Like the dude never led the NBA in any of these things. In any of these random stray ass acronyms, right? Like I always had a resentment for advanced analytics throughout most of my life because Kobe is not an efficient player. So I have genuinely rejected them. But that is the metrics these guys have been using since LeBron entered the NBA, basically, since like the early 2000s. The people that vote on these awards at the end of the year, these nerd writers, like they just pleasure themselves to these random ass advanced analytics.
But
so
you ain't
I've
gotta
had
do
to
it,
take
Cat.
them into account when I'm trying to measure who's more
You ain't
valuable.
gotta do it, though.
You ain't gotta do it.
You ain't gotta do it.
Jokic dominates the entire league for 5 straight years in these advanced metrics. But if you want to devalue the advanced metrics, if you want to just say, oh, no one even really knows how to calculate them, no one really knows what they mean. All right, well, let me just put it this way. There's 3 human beings that are going to average a triple-double in NBA history. I'm sorry, there's two right now. It was Oscar Robertson in 1961. Russell Westbrook did it a couple times. He won the MVP the first year he did it, despite having a far less efficient season than Nikola Jokic and winning only like 45 or 46 games. Jokic is going to become the 3rd player ever to average a triple-double this year. He is 3rd in scoring, 2nd in assists, 3rd in rebounds, 4th in steals per game. He'll be the first player in NBA history to be top 5 in 4 standard box metrics. His BPM right now is like 3rd or 4th all time. So if you want to take out if you want to remove all of these crazy, insane advanced metrics that you don't think really matter or mean anything, the dude's averaging at nearly a 30-point triple-double and 2nd in the NBA in assists, like as a center. Like I think it's a historically relevant season.
Those are stats,
those are stats. I mean,
okay, so you don't want to talk about stats and you don't want to talk about advanced metrics, which give an impact of value. So let's do this, guys. You just say the Thunder are going to win the most games, so therefore Shai has to be the MVP.
You know what's
say that.
You use the eye test, you use stats, but goddamn,
I watch both of them. Jokic is on my eye test over Shai.
You know what's funny, Scott? Joker's everything that you say isn't a bag of chips, but for some strange reason, if he's all that, then in the 4th quarter in winning time, and it's not every time, but it's like an unspoken word. Here you go, Jamal, take us home. He's
not
taking
true.
the last shots.
Not true.
Listen, I didn't say
not true.
I didn't say every time. Listen, I didn't say every time. I said there's been a lot of times where it's been Jamal Murray hitting big shots, 2-game winners versus the Lakers. He just did it this season. And on the OKC Thunder, there's no doubt who the ball's going to in the 4th quarter because he's the MVP. He's the team's best player. That's who they trust. Like, there's like teetering. It's a tug of war between Jamal and Joker in winning time. We've seen it. And so he's not even the most clutch player or the de facto clutch player on his own fucking team. No, bro. Sorry. I mean, like, and again, I agree. I think these stats are overrated to the highest degree. There's something called the eye test. And again, like we're not me, but you're changing the criteria and you're using stats and you're doing what LeBron James fans do. You're just bringing up a whole bunch of stats.
Cool. Hang on. I have it right here. You guys can all join me out there in YouTube land and on this panel in NBA.com, traditional advanced clutch stats. This is for this year, this season, the 2024-2025 NBA season, because I know a lot of these things off the top of my head, but I don't want to just pull random shit out of my ass. So I'm just going to go ahead and check it. These are your leading, your top 10 leading clutch time scores this year. Clutch time defined as a game within 5 points or less in the last 5 minutes of the game. The leading scorer in the NBA in these times is Trae Young, followed by Jalen Brunson, followed by Anthony Edwards, followed by DeMar DeRozan, followed by Tyrese Maxey, and coming in 6th league-wide above Steph Curry is Nikola Jokic in clutch time scoring. Hold on. Going down to number 29th league-wide would be his teammate Jamal Murray. Jokic has 115. Hold on. Jokic has 115. Jokic has 100.
Yeah, it's total points, Cap. Yeah, it's total points.
Hold on. Jokic has 115 points in clutch time. Jamal Murray has 69 clutch time points. So Jokic is doubling Jamal Murray
Let me
this
rebut
time
that,
in clutch time scoring.
Okay, cool. Scap. That stat you just read is deceiving because it's giving us total points, and you said it's based on the last 5 minutes of a game.
When do you want to see?
I'm talking about Imano versus Imano under a minute game, down by 1, down by 2. It's been a lot of Jamal Murray show, bro. And so what you just read is total points. Joker can score all these points in like 4 minutes and 30 seconds, 3 minutes to go. It's deceiving, bro. That don't work on me, right? Those 69 points that Jamal has is probably more impactful than Joker's 116. I mean, stop it, bro.
Let me do an advanced filter for you.
You have nothing to back that up, man.
Easy to we've seen it,
KJ.
We've seen it,
bro.
KJ.
Like here's the thing. I get tired of this narrative that
We've seen it.
Jamal. Hold on. We get tired of this narrative that Jamal Murray is like the closer, bro. They run their clutch time offers through both of them as a 2-man game. Yeah. They feed off each other in the clutch. It's not like Jamal Murray will just get out the way and let him score. It's no. We're gonna run 2-man game with Jokic as a screener, with Jamal Murray with the ball. It's not just Jamal Murray carrying that team in clutch time. He gave you the stats, and every time he gives you stats, you're just like,
we agree on that. I said that it's not Jamal all the time, but Jamal's 69 points compared to Joker's 116. I don't care how much
he's double.
I care about when you score the points.
Mr. Moss, excuse me.
Yeah.
I'd like back in on this. I have filtered out your parameters. I have now switched it to the last 2 minutes. The last 2 minutes.
He's going 2 minutes, King J. No.
Hold on. The last 2 minutes and not 5 points or less. 2 points or less. Okay. So a 1-score game in the last 2 minutes. Nikola Jokic is tied for 4th in the NBA. He's tied for 4th. So he has 43 points. That's tied for 4th most. And look, Jamal Murray, great during that time, 29 points. But still, it's Jokic.
I'm not talking about 2 minutes. I'm not talking about 2 minutes. Again, that's deceiving because the game is nick and tuck, and at the moment, under a minute, under 20 seconds.
Man, y'all know Jamal Murray taking the last shot, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, bro.
I mean, you can't use 2 minutes, bro. That's crazy.
Come on, bro.
Hey, Scap. Last season versus the Lakers, it was Jamal Murray who hit 2 game winners. It wasn't Joker.
Okay. When Paxson hit a game-winning shot to clinch a series for the Chicago Bulls, I guess it was Paxson was the closer for the Bulls, not Jordan, right? When Robert Horry hit the game-winning shot when it was 2-1 Sacramento in the 2001 NBA Western Conference Finals, and the Lakers were down 2 and about to be down 3-1 in their three-peat bid. I guess it was Robert Horry is actually the closer because Robert Horry hit the shot, right? I guess Ray Allen was the closer for the Miami Heat. So what? Because he pulled 1 shot, 2 shots he can pick up. I'm showing you quantifiable analytical data, facts from every clutch time moment, and it's Nikola Jokic in spades over Jamal Murray. Yet, he hit 1 shot I can think of, or he hit 2 shots I can think of off the top of my head. Get out of here with this.
Hey, you guys, hold on. Hey, you guys, he's using John Paxson and Steve Kerr hitting 1 shots, right? Jamal Murray dropped 2 50-point games in the bubble when they're down 3-1. It was Jamal Murray who dropped 40 points versus a Kawhi Leonard in the game 7. I'm saying, so again, I'm not using one-offs with Jamal Murray. He hit 2 game winners last season versus the Lakers. You're comparing John Paxson, who hit 1 lousy shot versus the Lakers, versus Jamal Murray, who's hit damn near 4, 5, 6 big-time game-winning shots. Scap, stop it, bro. What are you doing right now, bro?
No, wait, Mr. Moss, you stop it, bro. You stop it. You stop bringing up the bubble. The bubble was in 2020. That's 5 years ago, my God. Hold on, Mr. Moss. Let me get this out, and I'll let you. I want to hear your legitimate response to this. All right, I want to hear everybody's legitimate response because I talk a lot of shit on Jamal Murray. Everybody knows I do.
Absolutely.
Since Nikola Jokic started winning league MVPs. And look, you could say whatever. Nikola Jokic was 24 years old in the bubble or whatever. All right. You could say he choked or didn't play well, or Murray was very good in that and Jokic didn't capitalize. Whatever. He was 24 years old. Since Nikola Jokic hit his mid-20s for the last 5 years and started winning or being second in league MVP every year, basically, Jamal Murray in 4 playoff runs with MVP caliber Nikola Jokic was exceptional in the 2023 playoffs. Admitted. He was exceptional. And what happened when Jamal Murray was exceptional? And a definite all-star caliber. And like you can even say he even looked all NBA caliber in those playoffs. What happened? Well, the Nuggets easily won the championship. So in the other 3 playoff runs, other than 2023, when the Nuggets easily won, I think they were 16-3 and won the championship. Jamal Murray missed the entire playoffs in the other 2 of 4 years. So he wasn't even available at all. And then last year in the playoffs, he was pitiful. He averaged 20 points per game on 20 shot attempts a game. He shot like 39% for the whole postseason last year. Like, so in 4 years, this is the 5th year of Nikola Jokic's real stranglehold on the NBA. So the verdict is out this year, guys, of what Jamal Murray will deliver, what level he will play at in the playoffs. But in the 4 previous years, Nikola Jokic's big, clutch, 50-point per game dropper was phenomenal in 1 of the 4. They won a title. In the other 2, he didn't play a single game in the playoffs, and he was ass in last year's playoffs. 20 points on 20 shots on 39. So, like, what are we saying? Like, you want to say Jamal Murray is this and that? Well, do it in the freaking playoffs. He's done it once. They won a title.
Well, Scap, all you doing is cooking yourself. Hold on. But Scap, all you're doing is cooking yourself because all you're just sitting there saying that this team goes as Jamal Murray goes. If Jamal Murray is not playing at the heights that he's playing at, I mean, there's no deep postseason run for the Denver Nuggets. Jamal Murray was also good in the bubble. He averaged 26, shooting 50, 40, 90 in the whole entire playoffs. And where did the Denver Nuggets went to, chat? They went to the conference final.
West Finals. And they lost to a much more positioned veteran team with Anthony, top 5 player in the NBA at the time, Anthony Davis and LeBron James.
And that was before Jokic peaked, bro.
Can Jokic ever sit there and say that he can elevate the team to deep postseason heights with Jamal Murray struggling?
And this is my point. This is my point about Jokic. I think Jokic is at a stage, to me, where I have Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, and this is my lifetime. Okay, guys, I don't know how old any of you are. I'm born in like the mid '80s. Okay,
Same here.
So my lifetime, the 2 best players I've ever seen in my life, and I'm about to talk about a time period where I wasn't even alive for it, but Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Okay, Michael Jordan was so utterly dominant in the first 7 years of his career, and he didn't win shit because he was just playing against other better teams with better total players on them. He was the best player in when he was getting smoked by Boston and then later by Detroit in the mid 80s and into the late 80s. Jordan to me was the best player in the league, but he needed 1 all-star caliber guy. That's it. So when I look back, I said, when Michael Jordan got 1 all-star caliber guy, he went from losing in the first round a lot. He went to the East Finals against Detroit, but that was after Pippen came on. So when Pippen came and became a perennial all-star caliber player, it was lights out. Jordan won virtually every damn year. He did win every year. Every year that he started and played a full NBA season, he won every year once he got that 1 all-star. We then fast forward to Kobe in 05 range, 04, 05, 06. That dude was the freaking second coming of Kobe Bryant in my estimation, or the second coming of Michael Jordan. He was so much better than the rest of the league, in my opinion. But that team was pure, utter shit. He had Kwame Brown and Smush Parker were starting on that team. His best player was Lamar Odom, who, fine, Lamar had a 6th man of the year 1 year. He never made an all-star. I watched that team, and it was killing me to see Kobe eliminated in 2 back-to-back first-round playoff series against Steve Nash and the Suns after Steve Nash stole Kobe's rightful league MVPs. I then had to watch the Lakers lose to those Steve Nash Phoenix Suns teams. And I just prayed to the basketball gods. I got down on my hands and knees, and I said, please, God, deliver the Black Mamba 1 viable all-star player. And if you will, Kobe will dominate the league and win. and Pau Gasol came, and they went to 3 straight and won back-to-back. But Kobe wasn't winning shit before Pau. So, in fact, Kobe was losing in the first round before Pau. But when Pau came, championships. So when I look at this Nikola Jokic, I'm now seeing the same thing to me where I'm saying, if this dude could get literally one all-star caliber player, just one, he's winning every year. He has had, to me, one all-star caliber player once, and Jamal Murray 1 year, one time. But Jamal Murray's never even been an all-star. Not once. He's never been all NBA.
So you think why are you comparing Jokic?
He's 80th in all of these advanced 80th, 100th in all of these advanced analytics. But if Jamal Murray, if he can play at an all-star caliber level, then Nikola Jokic will win championships multiple. But until he gets that consistency, you're talking ceiling. Jamal Murray's ceiling might be good, but he doesn't deliver that consistently. I challenge you guys to go back and really look into that Denver, into that second round series last year against the Minnesota Timberwolves. That Jamal Murray, by and large, was putrid. Like, they both, Nikola and him both showed up in game 7, and they both blew the 20-point lead. But that was it. Like, it was literally just Murray and Jokic played essentially 47 minutes in that game because they have no backup center. They're fucking terrible whenever he's off the floor. So to me, you say, oh, well, he struggles when Murray doesn't play. Yeah, because he has no other good players. Like, to me, Jordan didn't win either. Kobe didn't win either.
Yes,
nobody can win without at least one all-star guy. I'm not asking for a super team.
Jordan did win.
I'm not asking for him to be LeBron James. I'm not asking Nikola Jokic to be LeBron James and join 2 top 20 players or join the second or third best player in the NBA. I'm asking, can he get his Pau Gasol? Can he get his like Scottie Pippen?
Okay, let me jump in with Cap. And that second three-peat with Scottie Pippen, that was not the same version of Scottie Pippen. In 1998, Pippen missed damn near half the season, and the Bulls still won 60 games. Go to the 98 finals. Pippen was nowhere near Scottie Pippen. MJ made no excuses and still got it done on the road in game 6. So what are you saying that Jordan didn't do that? Yes, he did do that. What are you talking about, bro?
First of all, Jordan is my GOAT. Unequivocally.
No, but you just hold on.
He's one of my favorite players ever. I'm not going to slander Michael Jordan. But the fact remains, like, they were probably the best defensive team in NBA history, which includes Jordan, but also encompassed other players on that team.
But you're moving the goalpost on now because you said that he didn't do it. Because your argument is that if Jamal's not playing to the standard, then Joker can't do it, like Mookie said. And then you brought up Jordan and said he did it. I'm saying
he didn't.
He didn't do it.
He did do that.
I'm sorry.
But he had Scottie Pippen on those teams.
Hold on. Was Scottie Pippen
wasn't Scottie in the second?
Scottie Pippen's a top 40 all-time player. And I'm low on Scottie Pippen. I'm low. I'm a Scottie Pippen hater. I've got him like 40th. Like, he's a top 40 all-time player.
In 88 and 89, when Jordan made a deep postseason run to the conference finals, was Scottie yet?
No, and they didn't win.
No, but he at least made a deep postseason run.
And Scottie was an all-star, though. Scottie was an all-star in the 80s.
No, he was not.
No, what?
Scottie was not no all-star in the 80s. What are you talking about?
Cap.
He was.
Cap.
Hang on.
No, he was not.
I don't remember him being one. I mean, what, in the 80s?
In 88, 89, Scottie was not a all-star. When they made a deep postseason run in 88, 89.
He was an all-star in 89. He was an all-star in 89, 90.
Yeah, 89, 90.
But that's not the season he's talking about. He's talking about
I'm talking about 88, 89. Scottie was not an all-star player. And
he was an all-star in 89, and they didn't win the title that year. They lost to Detroit that year.
Hold on, but Scott, my point is to sit there and say is that why can't Nikola Jokic, if he's great as you sit there and say he is, why he can't elevate Jamal Murray, despite when Jamal Murray is playing terrible, to deep postseason runs, at least to a conference finals? Because we have seen when Jamal Murray is not there, Jokic is getting put out the first or in the second round, right? And when Jamal Murray is there and not performing to those levels, he's getting put out the second round and underperforming overwhelmingly in a game 7. When Jamal Murray is averaging 26 shooting,
because Nikola Jokic isn't Michael Jordan, of course.
No, but hold on. You think hold on, but what I'm saying is this: you think Nikola Jokic is just as good as Kawhi Leonard? Would you agree?
For sure, yeah.
Okay. Well, Kyle Lowry, who played like shit in the postseason in the Toronto Raptors, he was able to elevate that team to a deep postseason run when his second best player, Kyle Lowry, was complete trash. Terrible.
The East isn't the West,
Anthony Edwards played with Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns was underwhelmingly terrible.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Pascal Siakam was on that team too.
Cat was better than Jamal Murray. Bro.
I'm pretty sure Pascal Siakam was on that team too.
Well, they beat the Sixers.
Cat is better than Jamal Murray, bro.
Karl Anthony Towns was not good in the playoffs last year. His slot selection was terrible, and his efficiency was dog shit. But yet, Ant-Man, with a flawed half-court offense, was still able to reach the conference finals when his second best player didn't perform well. What can't Jokic do it?
Hold on, wait a second. Last year, Karl Anthony Towns was an all-star, and Anthony Edwards was an all-star. Karl Anthony Towns. Hold on. Can I fit? You asked me the question. Karl Anthony Towns is a perennial all-star. He's made at least 5 or 6 all-star games throughout the course of his career. He was an all-star just last year. They had the defensive player of the year last year and the 6th man of the year in the NBA last year in Naz Reid. So that you're telling me that a team that had 2 perennial all-stars on it, the 6th man of the year, the defensive player of the year, a second player, and Jaden made the defensive second team, I think, last year. You're telling me that team isn't as good as the next? Stop it. See, this is my point. He doesn't have enough.
If Joker would have played better, they would
worse than his team. He was the best player. He was the best player.
Jokic wasn't
Jokic was the best player in that series.
Hell.
Hold on, Scap.
You go 2 for 8 for 3 in game 7.
The point is, hold on, Tennessee. That's besides the point. The point that I'm saying is that when their second best player is not performing, one player in Anthony Edwards is able to elevate that team. Even though when their half-court offense was probably the worst in the league, he was still able to elevate that team to deep postseason runs.
Sure, let me.
Jokic cannot do that when his second best player is not performing well.
Yeah,
Kawhi did it. Kawhi was able to elevate his team. With his second best player not performing well.
Sure, let me answer.
Why can't Jokic do it if he's that great that you sat there and said he is?
Because Jokic's teams defensively are terrible. Like Anthony Edwards.
He's the reason.
Can I finish this point? Can I finish this point? Can I finish
He's the reason why his team is trash.
Can I finish the point, please? Can I finish the point without you yelling over me? Last year, Anthony Edwards was again not the best defender on his team. There were multiple all-NBA all-NBA defensive selections on that Timberwolves team, including defensive player of the year that was not Anthony Edwards. Okay? This is a great point. So please don't interrupt me and please listen up. Steph Curry is a garbage defender. He is a marginally below average defender. Look at his entire career, any metric you want to see. The 4 championships that Steph Curry won, he had a top 2 net rated defense 3 of the 4 years. So 3 of his 4 titles came with a top 2. They were one of the 2 best defensive teams in the entire NBA, despite Steph Curry's presence, because they had other phenomenal defenders surrounding him. In the 4th title, they were like the 8th rated defense. So 4 top 10 net rated defenses for Steph Curry's 4 title runs. This very season, if any of you dare tell me that Steph Curry is a good defender right now in his age 37 season, just sign the hell off. You've delegitimized your entire platform and argument. Steph Curry is trash at defense right now. He's 37. He's verging on damn near washedness on the defensive side of the ball.
What makes him trash defense?
Hold on. Yet and still, the Golden State Warriors are the 7th rated net defense right now. In today's NBA, they're the number 2 net rated defense since the Jimmy Butler acquisition. So if these games were viably winnable, if the defense was any good, then Jokic could win these games. When you look at these guys historically that you brought up that are winning these games, they have great defenses around them, not just one player. Now you could say those guys that you brought up were factors in making the teams good at defense, whereas Jokic perhaps is not good at defense. But Steph Curry's won 4 titles, and he's had 4 elite defensive teams around his scrub ass on defense. So get the hell out of here with Nikola Jokic. It's all his fault, basically. Like if you give him top 5 net rated defenses, he'd win a championship every single year. If you give him a viable all-star caliber player that's an all-star every year perennially, just one, he would win a championship every year. He has had neither of those things. Therefore, he hasn't won. But guess what, guys? He has won once. He has still won one time despite those things.
With all that being said, I just want to make.
Hey, Scap. Would you hold on, Tony C.
Hold on.
Scap, hold on, Tony C.
Go ahead.
Scap, would you agree that if you give Jokic a top 10 defense, he'll win every year? Would you agree with that?
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, he had a top 10 defense last year. Did he win?
He did not have a top 10 defense last year.
Yes, they did. They in 2023-2024, they were 8th ranked defensively. So why
It's crazy, Mook. I mean, it's easy. It's just come on, man. Like,
and then Scott, you sit there and say that well, Steph Curry is trash defensively. What makes Steph Curry trash defensively? I want you to break it down. What makes Steph trash defensively?
Hang on a second.
And when you're done with that, I just got one.
He's verifying that defensive stat.
Yeah, you might have been cooked yourself.
No, Nuggets were 8th last year.
That's mic drop right there, bro. That's mic drop.
And it's Shai Slick Rick.
All right. Well, further, hang on. Sorry, I inadvertently came on this year. The Nuggets are the 24th rated defense this year. Okay.
But
what about last year? What about last year, buddy?
Hang on.
Last year.
What? I'm sorry. What metric are we looking at?
Defensive rating.
It's still when you're using this year, man. Come on, Scout.
Now, but can you describe defensive rating for me first? Can
you describe it this year? Come on.
Wait. We were arguing early. Per 75 or per 100. Can you tell me which?
Oh my god!
Defensive rating.
What is defensive rating though? Can you define it? Is it per 100? Can you clarify that it's per 100? Because we were arguing earlier.
No, it's per 100, man. They were 8th.
Yeah, you know they. Yeah, right. You could.
You love
you have to define elite. To me, 8th is great, but not elite.
But can you tell me who
the number
1 net rated? But can you tell me who the number 1 rated net defense was?
Top 8 is good.
But can you tell me who the number 1 rated net defense was last year?
The Wolves.
One in Minnesota.
Okay. So they lost. So they were the 8th rated defense last year. They lost to the number 1 net rated defense last year.
You said give him a top 10, he'll win.
And they lost to the number 1 rated net defense. So you got
hold on. You said you give him a top 10 defense, they win, and they didn't win.
Okay.
So it's just like
all right. So they're 24th this year. Hang on. They're 24th this year.
Hey, Scap. What about in 2018?
Hold on. They're 24th this year. They were 12th the year before last. Okay.
Still good.
They were
12th is average, bro.
Average, right.
12th is average.
Hold on, Scott. What about 2018, 2019?
That was before Jokic's peak.
No, I'm not talking. What about 2018, 2019, Scott?
Hang on. 2021. Hold on. 2020, 2021, 2022. Another MVP year for him. They were 20th. Okay.
You said 21, 22?
Then go to the year they won the championship. The next year.
You didn't win a championship. They're 15th ranked. So they won a championship with 15.
Middle of the pack.
Yeah. Their defense was actually better than 15. Like they were ranked 15th, but they took like the last month and a half.
Okay, and then the year in 2020, 2021, they were 20th. So like, okay, 1 year, you got me. You got me. Fair, you got me. They were 8th last year. That's the only year. Hold on. That's the only year in Nikola Jokic's entire career that he had any better than like 12th, 15th, 20th, 19th.
2018, 2019, Scap. They had a top 10 defense.
They're just average.
Hold on, Scap. 2018, 2019, they had a top 10 defense, and he still
How
didn't
old
win.
was Nikola Jokic?
Oh, now
2018,
Bro, that was before his prime, man.
You said you give Jokic a top 10 defense, they win, Scap.
He was like 22 years old.
What that's supposed to mean?
People have done.
Wait, you said 2017, 2018, or 2018, 2019?
2018, 2019.
Yeah, that was before his prime, bro. I mean, come on now.
Can I
he didn't start peaking until 2021.
Also, Scap, when I look at these Jokic defensive years, because when I look at these defensive years, I mean, from 24 to 23 to 22, the only positive year he had defensively when he was on the court, relative defensive rating, right? It was 1.8. Jokic from 22, 23, 24, his relative defensive rating is negative 3.4, brother. So that means that when he has those good comparable defenders, he lowers the defensive ceiling of the team because how bad he is as a defender, as a rim protector, as a guy to be able to defend his team. It was, let me look at the relative. It was 24, 23, 22. Relative defensive rating on the floor, they were not good when he was on the floor. Relative defensive rating.
And we're talking defensive rating, though. Hold on, we're talking defensive rating, which is fine, which is per 100, which you've clarified that you agree.
That's a lie, Mookie. They were better with Jokic on defense those years, bro.
No, you're not looking at relative.
Bro, it is relative, bro. They were minus 2.1. Bro, I have it right in front of me, bro. They were minus 2.1. Hold on, I'm about to explain to you. I have it right in front of me, bro. They were Okay, with Jokic on the floor, they were +2 on defense, meaning 2 points better than average on defense with Jokic on the floor. Without him, when he's off, hold on, it's right in front of you, bro. When he's off the floor, they were -2 on defense, meaning they were 2 points below league average on defense those years.
No, when Jokic and I don't know if you see the screen. Jokic with 2.7 minutes played, their relative defensive rating when he's on the court is negative 3.4. Huh?
We don't see your screen, bro.
Oh, there we go, right here. Jokic, when he's on the floor, relative defensive rating in 2024, 2023, and 2022, he's a negative 1.9 when he's on the floor. This is relative,
bro. I think
relative defensive rating. It's relative. It's basically. Let me pull it up.
Hold on, bro. It's saying minus as like if it's minus, it's better.
No. When he's on the floor, that means that he's better when he's off the court.
So you think the defense is +3 points better this year with Jokic on the floor on defense?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
I'm asking you because on 2025 he's +3.2.
What I'm saying is this. I'm saying that when he's on the floor, he lowers the ceiling of the defense.
I know what you're saying, but you're referencing the stats. You're reading the stats wrong.
Okay, no. That means that when he's on the floor, they're negative 3.4. That means that when he's on the floor, he lowers the value of the defense.
It's saying the defense, bro. It's saying the defense gets better in those numbers. See, in 2025, how it's +3.2. That means the defense. Yes, it does, bro. You're reading.
That's only one
you're reading
year.
the stats. No, you're missing the point, bro. 2025 doesn't have the minus next to it, bro. So that would mean hold on. If you're gonna bring that up, that would mean he's like plus. He makes the defense 3 points better this year. Do you agree with that? Do you think that's accurate?
No, that's why I sat there and said the stats alongside with the eye test. If the stats is this,
the stats don't agree with you.
Yeah, that's why I said you can take this year with a grain of salt. But what I'm saying is that I'm saying that the stats prove historically from 24, 23, and 22 that they are worse defensive unit.
Hey,
when
you're reading the stats wrong, bro.
Can you look at Shai this year? Pull up Shai on that same thing.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Look at my guy, Shai.
Because the same one you have that you have Jokic at minus or plus, he's worse 2.9 points. Shai is better by 0.9 of a point this year.
Who, Shai?
Yeah. So you're saying that Jokic's presence adds 3 points per 100 possessions to the opponent. That's what you're saying. You're saying that the team, the Nuggets, are better by 3 points per 100 possessions on defense without Jokic. That's
no, I'm not. I'm saying they're worse defensively when he's on the court.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what you mean.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm in effect agreeing with you. So
okay.
So Shai, on the other hand, does raise the team. He contributes 0.9, so 1 point. He's 1 point better. The team is per 100 possessions with him on the floor. So you know what, guys? I'll give it to you. I'm not even saying that Nikola Jokic is an elite or above average defender. But if we're saying, using the stats that you just brought up, that Jokic is 3 points worse on defense, 2 point, whatever it is, 3 points worse on defense per 100 possessions, whereas Shai is 1 point better on defense. I'll grant you that. But on offense, on offense, Shai this year on offense, on the same numbers you just pulled up defensively, on offense, Shai is contributing. Hold on for my opponents.
Yeah, you're reading the stats wrong.
He is contributing
11.
Hold on. All right, I got it. He's contributing 11 points offensively. So if you do the total net contribution offensively and defensively added per 100 possessions, Shai is adding 12 total points being on the floor per 100 possessions. So that's 11 offensively and 1 defensively. Jokic, I will give you that he's losing 3. All right. I don't know who's fighting on my behalf here, but I appreciate you. I'm actually agreeing with you though, Mookie, that Jokic, let's give it to it. Let's give it to Jokic that he's costing his team 3 points on defense per 100, but he's adding 21 offensively. So by the same metric that you're looking at defensively, Jokic is adding 21 offensively. So if you again look at
nobody's denying.
Can I finish my point? If you look at the total net, Shai is adding 12 points to his team per 100 possessions. Jokic is adding 18. So whatever way you want to slice it, even if Jokic is this ass, putrid, pitiful defender that you're describing him to be, he is adding more value to his team than Shai is. Therefore, Nikola Jokic is the MVP if we're talking value added to his team, value added to the supporting cast that he has around him. And if you don't want to talk that, fine. Let's look at individual stats. Jokic is better. Like, he's better at every standard and advanced stat. He's basically better than Shai at everything. So, like, what the only thing that you can bring up to say that Shai is the MVP, just say to me, he's going to win 67 games, so it has to be him. Like,
no.
Your argument, fine, but that's
not the argument that I brought up, Scott. The argument is that you sitting there and said Jokic add this amount of points to his team offensively. Yes, he's a better floor raiser. The offense goes to him, but Shai adds 6.6 value on defense. That means that he makes his team better. He's not. He's making his team better defensively than
by 1 point.
Bro.
No,
6 points is made up, bro. 6 points is ridiculous, bro.
Real.
Bro, 6 points is like you're the greatest defender ever. You had 6 points, bro.
Correct.
That's what that one. If you look at his on and off from overall perspective, when Shai is on the court, that means their defense is much better when he's on the court. They're 6.5. They're 6.5 better when SGA is on the court.
They're not, screen, bro. Put it on the screen, bro. It's not -6, bro. Like,
it's
6
plus
points is
6.
absurd.
No, hold on.
Pull it up, man.
I'm looking at it right now. 6.6. 6.6 better when he's on the court.
No, that's the
court. That means that when he's on the court, that means that his defense is better.
No, you're reading that wrong.
That's what it means, TJ.
You're reading that wrong.
That's what it means.
No, you're not. You're looking at on-court defense. What we're talking about is on. Bro, hold on. I'm explaining to you. I'm gonna explain it. I'm gonna explain it to you, bro. What's next to it is the on-off. Okay, that means how much is he swinging the defense on the court as opposed to off the court.
Correct.
His on-off is minus 0.1, which means the defense gets 0.1 points better when he's off the court. On court, right? It's just how good their defense is with him on the floor. It's not accounting for when he's off the floor. So that means Thunder have a +6 defense with him on the court. That's what it's saying. It's not saying on off.
That's what I'm saying. When he's on the court, that means that means the Thunder's defense is +6.5 better when he's on.
No, not better. You're saying it's not better. You keep saying better. It's not better. They're +6.5. No, it's not, bro.
You're saying better, but that's not the right term, because better would be what they do without him versus what they do with him. That would be how much better he makes them. He's not adding 6. His presence on versus off isn't adding 6.5. It's adding 0.1 based on your metric right there that you have shared on the screen right now. He makes the defense better by 1/10 of a point.
That the team is 6.5 better than the average.
No, that's not what it says, bro.
You're not reading that right.
Okay.
That's what it means.
No, it's not. But just to prove the point, pull up Kawhi Leonard's stats, bro, and you're gonna see. Or pull up. Just pull it up because you're gonna see the same. It's gonna look different. Trust me, bro.
No, because Kawhi, I can't pull up Kawhi because Kawhi barely.
Okay, fine, but you're reading the stat wrong, bro. I'm trying to tell you.
No, it's not. It's not the stat. When
you pull up the stat, you don't even understand what the stat says. It says
it's plus 6.5. When SGA is on the court, the OKC's defense is 6.5 better than the league.
No,
average.
It means they're 6.5 points better.
The defense. Hold on. When he goes to the bench, the defense only gets 0.1 per 100 possessions. Worse, basically no drop.
No, it's not, bro. You're looking at on court. Right next to on court is on off. That accounts for when he's off the court.
On and off is 0.9. That means when he goes to the bench, the defense only gets 0.1 points per 100 possessions. Worse, basically no drop off. When he's on the court, that means that the defense is 6 points better than the league average.
Okay, what you said just made no sense because you just said that the bro. You said the 0.1 is how much better he's making defense off the court, and then you just said the same thing for on court.
No, let me read it again. Let me say it again for you clearly. When he goes to the bench, this is the on and off. When he goes to the bench, the defense only gets 0.1 points per 100 possessions. Worse, so there's basically no drop off.
You just said worse, but you just said they make up 6.5 points better.
No, I said when
which one is it?
Do you know what the on the court means, KJ?
Yes, I know. Do you know what it means? I know what it means.
You don't know what it means. It's 6.5 is better when he's better than the league average. That means that when he's on the court, that means that his defense is 6.5 better. When he's off the court, that means it's the on off. It's basically comparison on how did the team perform to when he goes to the bench.
Mookie, can you do me a favor,
bro?
Mookie, can you do me a favor? Can you pull up a website and share it right now?
Huh?
Can you just pull up Basketball Reference and go to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and share what you see when you get there? I'm not making these things up. Can you go to basketballreference.com? We all know it. We all use it.
What I'm looking for Basketball Reference.
What's that?
I said what I'm looking at in Basketball Reference.
Go to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's page in Basketball Reference.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get there, go to more pages for player. And there's a standalone column that has on off. And if you just click on 2024, 2025, and it will bring you
you share your screen. You share your screen. You know how to share your screen?
No.
Put present and then share screen. It's on the middle part.
Okay, I see it.
Okay, you got it. But yeah, you're reading the stats wrong, buddy. I'm sorry.
No, it's not.
I'm trying to help you, man. I tried to help you, bro.
I gave you the team. That means that when the team does not, when you look at the on and off, that means that when he's on the court, Oklahoma City Thunder defense is 6 points better, possesses better than the league average. That means they elite defensive team. When SGA sits, they only get 0.9 worse, basically no change. So they basically that's the elite defensive rating.
You almost had it right. You said the first part, right, which is that they're plus 6.5 better than league average with SG on the court, which is true, but he's not. But he's not swinging the defense 6 points better with him on the floor. That's just their total defense. They're 6.5 points better than league average with him on the floor. Bro, okay, can you pull it up again? All that's saying is that with SG on the court, they're plus 6.5 better than league average. With Jokic off the court, they're 6.6 better than league average. That's all I say.
You said what? I can't see your shit, Scott.
Okay, hang on. Let me try to get in there.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I mean, Jokic's defense is probably the worst in the NBA. And
it's not.
It is. It's the worst in the NBA. And when we look at SGA, and that's why when you talk about the value defensively, why do we ignore the defensive value? Because Scap, according to your logic,
can somebody that's better at technology than me pull this up? I'll walk you through it. All right. I'll walk you through it. Because I am ass at technology. You're lucky I can even barely sign on to this live stream. All right.
Okay.
So go to Basketball Reference.
Oh, it has the wrong screen. Why does it have the wrong screen? Hold on.
Oh my gosh.
It says the wrong screen.
You got the wrong one. You gotta put share the website, the site.
Hold on. Share Chrome.
But yeah, like
oh, here we go. Share the tab. There we go.
Okay.
Now this should work.
Let me just walk you through this. So go to Basketball. Okay, Shai Gil. Okay, so you've got Shai up. That's on off 2024, 2025 regular season for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Man. All right, this is per 100 possessions. Look at opponent. You're right on opponent, and look at O rating for opponent. So opponent O rating. There you go. You're highlighting it properly. So per 100 possessions with him on the court versus off the court, it's 107.1 versus 108. So he's literally with him on the court per 100 possessions versus off the court per 100 possessions. He is better by 0.9 of a point. By like 1 point is what he adds defensively. Okay. Offensively, you can scroll over and see to the left there that he adds like 11 points total when he's on the court versus off offensively. If you look at their team O rating, exactly right. Now scroll all the way over to the right, if you will. And that total right there, 12 points better. So he's contributing total when you are factoring in offense and defense on and off per 100 possessions. Shai is adding 12 extra points to his team. Now, whoever is sharing the screen, can you be so kind as to go to Nikola Jokic now for the same 2024-2025 season on off for Nikola Jokic? And keep that 12-point total number in mind. So, as you will see here, you're right defensively if you want to go to opponent first.
Where the hell did it go?
Scroll over to opponent. There you go. O rating per opponent. You're right. They give up 117 with him on the floor and 114 with him off. So again, you got me. He's while Shai adds 0.9 of a point better without him versus without. You're right. The Nuggets are 3 points worse just about with Jokic versus without Jokic. But if you will be so kind as to scroll over to the team offense now and look at their O rating. Other way.
Right here.
No. Go more to the left. Go back. Okay, yeah, you got it. Yep, I'm sorry, you had it. My fault. So they score 126 with him on versus 106 with him off. So that is, he's adding 20 and a half points when
we talking about defense.
Hold on. Okay, now scroll over all the way to the right and let's see what the total 17.8. So when you factor in the 3 points he costs them on defense and the 20 points he adds to them on offense, the total net value per 100 possessions with him on the floor versus off is 18, while Shai was 12. So you're telling me that Nikola Jokic, using the same metrics that you have just talked about for like 10 minutes or whatever to shit on Jokic, I'm using those same metrics, and Jokic, I'm showing you tangible evidence that is this all year long running accumulated data from every second they're on and off. He's better than 6. He's adding 6 more than Shai total when you factor in their offense and defensive value. And you're telling me he's not the MVP. Okay, bro, whatever. Just tell me if he won more games then.
No, he's not the MVP because the defensive value, when you one of the worst defensive players in the league from an on and off, it just not just strictly from an on and off perspective, because we know that SGA beats Jokic from a defensive on and off. Like their opponent offensive rating is better when he's on the floor. Their opponent effective field goal percentage is better. The opponent turnover percentage is better. The opponent's assist percentage is better. The opponent's offensive rating is all better than Nikola Jokic, right? But when he's defending, and when he's defending on the ball as a trail defender, as a positional defender, as a guy that be able to, disrupt opponent's offense, especially when he's the initiator on the point of attack when teams go at SGA, is a higher defensive impact than Nikola Jokic. Jokic cannot defend his space. He's a layup line to the basket. He doesn't show no effort. And this is all just the eye test, Scap. So not only the stats prove that SGA is a more impactful defender, but also the eye test prove it as well. That means that when SGA,
to me, I think the eye test, I've watched virtually every game Jokic has played this year. I think he gets shit on more so defensively than he should. I think his effort is better than people say. I think he's a very intelligent and cerebral defender. He is 4th in the NBA in steals. Like, I think that he gets and hold on, Mookie. I'm not saying he's great at defense. I'm not saying he's even better than average. But I'm saying when you look at total value added, that includes offense and defense. I'm not discounting defense. I've told you multiple times throughout the course of this how much I value that side of the ball. But when you look at total evidence of value provided by each player, you have a guy who's adding more at every way you want to look at it, total points per 100 possessions that he's on versus off by a lot. It's not close. Jokic had 6 more points, factoring in the defensive liability that you're talking about. He still is 6 points better than Shai.
No, but Scap, you are
total net rating would be on pace for a 19 or 21 team.
Scap, you're discrediting.
I don't understand what the case is that you're making.
Scap, you discrediting defense when you sit there and not bring up the value of what Shai brings defensively. You ignore defense and sit there and say, and you basically praising Jokic's offense when you the worst defender, one of the worst defenders in the NBA. That hurts a team value. That lowers a team ceiling. So the fact that Nikola Jokic
show me something where that says Nikola Jokic is like the 430th rated guy on defense. Show me something.
We're looking at stats.
We're not. You're looking at stats. Stats does not determine.
You can't use
but even then, like,
because your eyes don't see every player.
Stats does not.
Have you watched every game Nikola Jokic has played this year?
Yes. I watched every game.
You watched every game. Have you watched every game that Trae Young has played this year?
Respectfully, we up here.
Bro, we watched majority of the games.
Have you haven't seen every player that's played in the NBA? You can't say that your eye test is the thing that you do.
Scap, listen. I get paid to watch these games, and I'm watching Nikola Jokic get beat in space routinely. I'm watching Jokic not have no resistance at the rim whatsoever. I am watching Nikola Jokic get attacked in space where guys have to come over there, heads to pick and rolls, which put his team in rotational issues constantly because then the ability to have to cover Jokic on every ball screen action you can count on. Jokic is not a good defender. He's not a solid defender. His defense got worse. And Scap, what I asked you to do, Scap, is to do some homework, Scap. And I know you do homework, but watch that Lakers game. Watch that game against the Lakers on how Austin Reeves, Vando, all these guys was consistently getting to the rim with Jokic showing no resistance, weak side whatsoever. Watch it, Scap.
Everyone has bad defensive games.
Hold on, Scap.
Let me tell you. Hold on.
Listen. Hold on. Let me say.
Okay, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
You are a Kobe Bryant fan.
Go keep bringing that up.
You love Kobe. You love
For
Kobe.
a reason, though, King J. You gotta be consistent, bro.
The main reason, Scap, that you have Kobe over LeBron, you break up the defense.
Is that the main reason?
Not my main reason. That's not my main reason.
No, he said one of.
That's not my main reason.
He said one.
But bro, you just ignore Jokic's like we keep talking about his defense. Like the dude's having a top 3 offensive season ever. Like, do you know what Jokic on the floor? Hold on, no. With Jokic, first of all, this dude's give you 30, 13, and 10. He's one of the most efficient scorers in the league. He's the best playmaker in the league. He's a top 3 scorer in the league at worst. And on top, if you want to look how Jokic elevates everybody off. Look what happened to Russell Westbrook. He was out the league. He's a bum. He's a role player. There's no one he completely revitalized Russell Westbrook's career. Look at everybody's efficiency with Jokic on the floor. Jamal Murray gets worse. MPJ gets worse. Russell Westbrook gets way better. And with Jokic on the floor this season, their offense. Hold on. Their offense is almost as efficient as the 2017 Warriors with Steph, Clay, KD, and Draymond on the court at the same time. That's how efficient, how much of a juggernaut the Nuggets offense is with Jokic. And by the way, Jokic's doing this. Jokic's doing this without another All-Star. Jamal Murray. If I were to give you the most charitable evaluation Jamal Murray. He's a borderline all-star, fringe all-star, and really,
player. We're not going to sit.
No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. Not, or at least not in the regular season. Definitely not in the regular season.
Come on.
Based off what?
Jamal Murray shoots better shooting splits, and I think he averaged more points than SGA's second best player. Now, when you talk about offense, right? I'm glad you mentioned offense, right? Jokic, to put him in these offensive conversations, Scap and King J, right? Y'all praise Jokic playmaking. His playmaking and passing put him in these conversations. His playmaking and passing is better than his scoring, right?
Okay.
Well,
he's averaging third league wide in scoring, though.
Hold on, Scap. What I'm saying is this, Scap. Jokic being in these conversations is his playmaking and passing. That will put him in these best offensive conversations in the world convos, right? Because how great he is as a playmaker and passer. The reason why Shai is in these best offense of conversations in the NBA is because of his scoring alongside with his playmaking and passing. But I look at relative to the lead of their skill sets. Jokic, relative to the lead, he's not clearing anybody in playmaking and passing because Luka Doncic is on the level of a playmaker and a passer. Nobody is on the level as SGA as a scorer. And the main thing about offense is putting the ball in the basket. SGA per 75 possessions, Scott, is averaging 35 points per game. And when you look at his relative true shooting percentage, he's 6.8 in relative true shooting percentage above the league average. So when I look at that, you can make an argument that SGA is a better offensive player or just as good as an offensive player than Nikola Jokic.
No, you can't.
While also he cleared him defensively.
No, you can't. You're not accounting for, bro. No, you can't, bro. And you brought up Luka. Luka's irrelevant. The gap between Jokic and SGA playmaking is way bigger than the scoring.
Yeah,
way bigger than the scoring. Hold on. You commit. Hold on. Wait. Let me respond. I didn't.
Scoring is way bigger than Jokic's playmaking and passing.
Well, that's your opinion. I could make an argument.
The main thing about offense is putting the ball in the basket. SGA, Jokic does not do it.
Here. I'm gonna use your own logic against you. I could make an argument even if SGA is the best scorer, that Jokic is the second best scorer in the league. You can't make an argument that yes, you can. You can make an argument for. You telling me I can't make an argument for? Hold on. You telling me I can't make an argument for Jokic?
He's not a better scorer than KD.
You can make an argument for Jokic. Yes, you can. You can make an argument if you disagree. Hold on. But you know what you can't do? You can't make an argument for SGA as the second best playmaker in the league at all. At worst,
you're not looking into relative to the league. Relative to the league,
they play this. What do you mean relative to the league?
Relative to the league, nobody is on SGA level as a scorer.
That's your opinion.
Relative to the league,
is third in scoring right now.
Hold on, Scap.
Relative to the NBA in scoring per game.
Is on the level as a playmaker and a passer as a vantage critter is Nikola Jokic. So relative to the league, when you look at two of the guys that are making it in the conversations of what makes them great offensively, when I look at the whole, what is the main thing we value offensively? It's putting the ball in the hoop. And Jokic does not do that better than SGA.
Well, we didn't argue that he did it better, but there's not a huge gap like you try to assert there is. There's absolutely not a huge gap. First of all, no, it's not. Like you brought up the stats. Like SGA is 34 plus 6? Jokic is 28 plus 9. Nigga, that's not a huge gap. And when you factor in the way, hold on. When you factor in, once you factor in other factors like the Nuggets don't have good spacing, the last in the league at 3-point attempts. He often has line. Hold on. Huh?
Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., and Jamal Murray. That's great spacers right there.
Aaron Gordon is a great spacer.
Yes, as a cutter.
He's not a great spacer. Like that's ridiculous. Hey, hold on. And that's you brought up. First of all, you just didn't even ignore the entire Peyton Watson, Russell Westbrook, Christian Brown. Like, give me a break, bro. You brought up two guys that are legitimate floor spacers. Teams don't even guard Aaron Gordon at the 3-point line. Yeah, but that's ridiculous. Hold on. You bringing up? Hold on. SGA is not even in the league.
The problem with Nikola Jokic is that he doesn't have the consistent motor to be able to score the way that SGA does.
Based off what?
What are you basing that on? He's third in the NBA in scoring.
Listen, Scap, and I understand what you're going to say, but I want y'all to look at this. When Jokic had the ball on the top of the key near the nail, he would back somebody down, and then he would force a double team, Instead of having a motor to score when you have a mismatch on a Austin Reeves to be able to spin off and consistently score to bend the defense, right? Jokic would wait till double teams come to pass it to non-shooters. If you had SGA on a mismatch in the post, he's not waiting till the double team come. He's not sitting there and wait till somebody send a double. He will drive the ball to the basket and get to the rim. That's when we talk about motors and scoring.
Based off what?
So many times for Nikola Jokic.
You just made that up. Like that's
Jokic.
not a real
Jokic,
thing.
hold on.
Jokic
You can
is-
hold on. I single-handedly watched the Boston Celtics game. He had Derek White on the elbow on the block. Russell Westbrook was on the right wing. Instead of spinning there, because there was no weak side defenders on the back line, he will wait 2 to 3, 4 seconds for a double team to come to kick it out to non-shooters.
You can bring up any particular play.
Passing stats. So when I look at that, I'm looking at the motor that SGA does, the fact that SGA is shooting better from the mid-range on higher volume, Scat, the fact that SGA is better at getting to the free throw line and better at getting to the rim than Nikola Jokic as well. And then when I'm looking at the volume plus the efficiency, I mean, SGA is 34 a game plus almost 7 in relative true shooting percentage and efficiency. He's the best scorer in the NBA. He has more 50-point games than Jokic and has more 40.
No one argued that.
He's better than he's the better scorer.
No, argue that. You just
hold on. And the gap in scoring is bigger than the gap in playmaking. Relative.
No, it's not. You can argue SGA is not even a top 10 playmaker in the league. No, it's not. You can argue. You can easily argue SGA is not even. You just made up a whole bunch of BS.
Come on, Scout. I need your rebuttal. Come on, Scout.
You literally just made all that up.
Look, Shai is averaging, I don't know where you're getting your numbers. Shai is averaging 32.9 points per game this year.
You got to go on per 75. Per 75.
But why are we not just looking at what they're doing per game right now in the NBA?
Per 75, that means that if you give them the equal amount of possessions, SGA averaged more points than Nikola Jokic.
What are the assists? What's the assist differential?
I don't have the per 75. I don't look at assists because it's about you making or missing a shot. Make or a teammate making.
Well, just watch them play then.
It's about a teammate making or missing a shot. Now, you can cook yourself with assist numbers because y'all sitting there and say Jokic don't have no help, yet he's topping the league in assists. So that just tells you that his teammates. So if he doesn't have, stop. If he doesn't have the help that you sit there and say, why is he topping the lead in assists? It's about a teammate making the shot.
Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna easily rebut this point.
That level of attention.
Hold on, no. I can easily rebuttal.
I watched that Laker game, and I watched them double and triple him all game long. He collapses defenses. He pulls the attention. He elevates these subpar players. With him on the court versus off per 100 possessions, it's like 106 points per game for the Nuggets without him on the court per 100 possessions.
Hold on. Let me ask. Hold on. Can I address the argument you made, Mookie? Like, how is he average so many assists if his teammates are bad? Did Russell Westbrook in 2017 have a great supporting cast on offense?
How many assists he averaged?
10.4.
Like 10.5.
10.4.
Yeah, he had solid people that was hitting shots.
Oh, can you name them? Hold on. Can you name them?
Who, Russ?
Yep.
What year? Are you
2017.
Oh yeah. What year? So you can look it up. You can't name.
Hold on. He had Deion Waiters. Didn't he have Deion Waiters a year?
Oh come on, bro. Deion Waiters is the best name you can come up with.
Deion Waiters wasn't even on the team, nigga. Like he had Victor. I'm gonna tell you the team. I'm gonna help you out.
Russell Westbrook. Hold on. Time out. Let me cook these. Russell Westbrook had 2 15-point per game scores.
15. 15 is the standard.
Victor Oladipo was averaging 16 points per game.
Oh my god!
And he also had a guy that was top 8 and 6 man a year in air.
Top 8? Oh my gosh, bro! He's a top 8 bench player in the league. That's your argument.
He also had Steven Adams, who was averaging 11 points a game. He had some players as well. And he
11 points a game, bro. Do you realize how far you're reaching with this argument? You brought up Victor Oladipo.
He had DeMontis Sabonis.
He was a rookie. Nick, what are you talking about? He played 20 minutes a game. No, he wasn't, bro. No, he wasn't. Hold on. He has some of the even with some of the worst spacing in the league. Victor, this is who. Hold on. Victor Oladipo, Enes Kanter, Steven Adams, Taj Gibson. Those are the next 4 top scorers on his team, and he was still able to be among the top in assists.
He was
Victor Oladipo. Hold on. Second. You had to bring up that Enes Kanter was top 8 in 6-man of the year. Top 8. Top 8 amongst bench players. That's your argument.
A lot of this
your argument is to ask.
Give me a break, bro.
Your argument is to ask. Your argument is to ask. Which also Victor Oladipo in 2017, he averaged 18 points per 75 possessions. So he was still producing. He was nearly a.
What's his efficiency?
He was literally a 20 point per game scorer.
Well, what's his efficiency?
What is efficiency?
Yep.
It was league average.
All right, 18 points on league average. Like, give me a break, bro.
But my point is, you sat there and say he didn't have no help. He did have help because he had Victor.
Oh my goodness, his second best scorer is a league average efficiency. He don't even cracking 20 points, and he's still able to be number 2. Hold on, that's not even bringing up Andre Roberson, who's a horrible offensive player. Taj Gibson
bringing up assist numbers. When we know that assist is predicated, Scap, off of making or missing a shot. Because Scap, you would probably say
you're the one that brought it up.
You would probably say that Kobe is a better playmaker and passer than LeBron, probably, Scap. Would you say that?
Probably not, to be honest with you.
What about playmaking?
I'd say Kobe is a substantially better scorer, a better defender, and a better winner. And that's why I have Kobe above LeBron. And to me, it's not close. But if we're talking about playmaking, I probably give that check mark to LeBron.
Okay, so you said better winner, better defender, and a better scorer. That's why he's over LeBron.
Don't just need assist.
Okay, Scap. All the criteria that you named, you could put your SGA over Nikola Jokic. That's why he's MVP. You have been.
I don't think he's a better winner at all.
Defense and winning. You just put that. Hold on, Scap. You just named the reason why Kobe is over LeBron because of scoring, winning, and defense. Well, the reason why SGA is the MVP over Nikola Jokic, scoring, defense, and winning. That goes to Jokic. SGA over Jokic.
I don't think he's a better winner at all. I think hold on. Can I get my? I talked about, to me, the biggest factor of why Nikola Jokic is the MVP right now, easily, is because he contributes more to winning, much more than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, much more. It's not close.
No, he doesn't.
He's taken a 20-win team by composite and made them a 50-win team, whereas Shai has taken a 50-win team and made them a 67-win team.
He took a playing team and took him to the number 1 seed. What are we doing?
Yeah, you really believe if Jokic won on that team, they'll only win 20 games, bro?
I really do.
All them guys.
I really do.
There'll be more around like 30.
That's some
25, 30.
Right?
I really do. And let me say this. I think Shai, hold on. We're talking, by the way, 1 year versus career. Like, we'll see what it bears out for the career. Like, Kobe Bryant, to me, won 5 titles in less time than LeBron James with substantially less supporting casts around him against harder competition, which is really what factors into me putting Kobe above. To me, we'll see what Shai does. They have, to me, I said before, at the very beginning of the show, I said in September, I said that the Thunder this year would be historically great and a historically great team defense, and that they would easily win the NBA championship, and it would be the beginning of probably like 3 in the next 5 years for them. That's what they should do. So let's see Shai deliver on it. Jokic, on the other hand, has sit here in Denver for 10 years, guys. 10 years. Okay. He's been in the NBA in Denver. Okay. If you look, and I have done this, let me make this point real quick. I have gone back and looked at every MVP player from 1980 to today. So that's 45 years of data, looking at every MVP guy. There's multiple winners, obviously. There's like 26 guys total from 1980 to today who have won a league MVP. In their top first 10 years of their entire NBA careers, I've looked and I've seen who has played with the most All-Stars, All-NBA, and All-NBA defense designated players. And I've made a graph to see who has had the most such teammates. Magic Johnson at this point of his career in his 10th season had about 32 such teammates. The worst player on the list, like the guy that had the least, I think was Kevin Garnett, who through his first decade, he had played with like only 6 or 7 combination of All-Star, All-NBA, All-NBA defense. Nikola Jokic has had 0. In his first 10 years in the NBA, he has never had one single teammate that has ever made an All-Star once, ever made an All-NBA once, ever made an All-NBA defense once. He has never complained. He has never asked for more help. He has never demanded a trade. He has stayed put for 10 years with literally substandard, the worst supporting cast we've ever seen, and by an MVP caliber player. And he has won a title in that amount of time. So he is an elite winner. He's one of the best winners I've ever seen.
Okay, so he's a better winner by Kobe by your logic.
Not better than Kobe, but he's.
Hold on. How can he? He didn't have no All-Star. Hold on. Why is this, Cap? He never had any All-Star caliber players. He did it without knowing all defensive team players. He won a championship, just like you sat here and said. So why you can't use that logic to say he's better than Kobe? He's a better winner than Kobe.
2000, because of 2009, 2010. Yes, Kobe had one All-Star in Gasol, who at the time was like a one-time All-Star for his entire career. But Kobe took that one guy, went to the finals 3 straight times, won back-to-back, played 11 of the 12 opponents he faced in those 3 playoffs were all 50-win teams. He's the only player in NBA history to defend the title without a top 75 player teammate. And in those 2 title runs when he did it, but when he defended a title with no other 75 all-time players against all 50-win opponents, he led the NBA in scoring for that back-to-back playoff run. In the 3 playoff years in 08, 9, and 10, he's the only player ever, including Jordan, to lead a playoff to score 600 points or more in 3 straight playoff runs. Kobe Bryant is close to Jordan, in my opinion. So no, Nikola Jokic is not better than Kobe.
No, you
guys didn't listen to him earlier. No, he said
he
said Jamal Murray in 2023 played like an all-star at an all-star level. No, so by that logic, it was both one all-star.
He didn't make an all-star.
No, he said he didn't make an all-star team, but he played at an all-star level.
Right. And I'll be honest with you. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I don't see Jokic winning a single other championship in his whole career because he is. Hold on.
Time out. Because Keith trying to get up. He made the point sitting there saying that Jokic had the lowest supporting cast out of the all-time great players, right?
Correct.
And he said he could win a championship without an all-star player, right? So technically, what he said is correct. So why would he say it? Why is he not over Kobe? Because Jamal Murray is not an all-star. Pau Gasol is an all-star.
But he played like one. That's the point. That's the rebuttal. Like
he didn't make an all-star. And let me just get this in. While Jokic had, I think, a more challenging run in 23 than people will give it credit to, because look, he played poorly seeded teams on his run to the playoffs. Hold on. In 23, he played poorly seeded teams on his run to the title, but he beat the Timberwolves in the first round. They
were hurt.
No, they weren't hurt though. They were out.
Jalen McDaniels. Rudy Gobert was not the same player.
What do you mean Rudy Gobert was not the same player?
They had Anthony Edwards. But anyway, that was the first round. Hold on. Can I finish this point? They played in the first round. They played them. In the second round, they played Kevin Durant and Booker on the Suns, beat them. Then in the West Finals, they beat Anthony Davis and LeBron James to get into the finals. And then, sure, they played a garbagey Miami Heat team who beat the Celtics though to get there. So, like, I think that team was that The run was harder than it looks, but if you look at the seed lines, then he played poorly seeded teams in that run. So you can make that case against him. Kobe played upper echelon, league-wide, great teams on the runs where he just had Gasol.
Yeah, he played 3 play-in teams in the goddamn playoffs.
All right, playing was not a term before he invented the play-in.
He played 3 play-in teams in the playoffs. The Timberwolves,
but they were better than play-in teams. Like, this is a narrative.
The Phoenix Suns, without their best playmaker and advantage creator, Chris Paul,
advantage creator.
The Lakers, and people were sitting there and pointing that LeBron James was hurt and their offense was shit. So they didn't have enough creators on that team to be able to exploit Jokic's weakness. And then he played an undersized Bam team in the Miami Heat, who also Jimmy Butler was hurt in that series as well, and they were playing team. By far, that is the weakest run I ever witnessed for any player that's in the conversation of all-time great player.
So that is why I think you can make the case that it's not quite to Kobe level. But and what I was trying to tell you was I don't see Nikola Jokic because he is tied now to Jamal Murray for essentially the rest of his career. Jokic is in his 10th year. Jamal Murray is contractually obligated to the Nuggets for like 5 seasons. So Jokic is going to be 15 years in, realistically, without a viable single all-star in his entire career playing with. So I don't think he's going to ever win another title. But if he gets 2,
but that ain't on him though. Huh?
If he gets 2, if he does find a way,
what the fuck?
I mean, I've got Hakeem at 5th all time on my list with only 2. So you can do the math of where I might move Jokic if he gets a 2nd, because I respect Hakeem so much because of what he did with so little. Well, Jokic has less than Hakeem.
Pass. Hey, can I ask
let
you?
me read. Oh, go ahead.
One quick question. Between Moogie and King James Scott. If the Nuggets don't get it done, what will be the reason y'all feel this year?
We have to. Well, I mean, for me, it's just the role players. I really don't believe in him. MPJ is like really wishy-washy, man. He'll have like he'll torch the Lakers, then he'll have a series like the Wolves where he's like 10 points a game at like 25%. Jamal Murray might start breaking. He's inconsistent. You know, health has been a big issue with Aaron Gordon. Their bench, Russell Westbrook, like how can you rely on him? Who's there like 7-8 guys off the bench, bro? Like they don't have a good bench either. So like to me, it's really supporting cast around you. Not to say that it would never be Jokic's fault under any circumstance. We have to see what happens. Like if Jokic goes in the playoffs and he has a shitty series, like yeah, we have to blame him. But if you're just asking me to make a projection.
By the way, about Michael Porter Jr., he's averaging 20 points per 75 possession.
That's not what I'm. No, you didn't listen, bro. I'm talking about the playoffs. First of all, since you brought up 20 points per 75 possessions, why don't you bring up his stats with Jokic off the floor as opposed to on the floor? Because I have it for you.
Those are limited minutes, and they don't have a big. So of course,
limited minutes.
Hold on.
So Michael Porter Jr.
They don't have a big, and they don't have limited minutes. But they don't
have. Look, hold on. I'm gonna.
How about
without Jokic?
How about his numbers with Russell Westbrook?
With Russell Westbrook? What do you mean?
Yes.
Like Jokic numbers with Russell Westbrook?
No, Michael Porter Jr. numbers with Russell Westbrook.
I have to look it up.
Okay, look it up. Now let's read the stats. Josh,
do you want me to answer what it will be? Why the Nuggets won't win this year?
Yeah. Go ahead, Scott.
Do you want me to answer that question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I think, to me, and this again just speaks to the value of Nikola Jokic. This is what I've been trying to talk about all day. That I don't think that I do not believe that this is even close to a playoff team without him. I think someone said maybe 30 wins. I think 20 to 25 wins might be a realistic estimate without him. I think they're closer to probably losing in the first round than they are to making any kind of a deep run this year. They, first of all, a week ago were the 2 seed. Jokic is going to miss his 4th straight game today. He's going to miss his 4th straight today. He'll miss his 5th straight tomorrow, more than likely on the back-to-back. They've lost 2 straight so far. They're going to lose today to Houston. They're going to get smoked by Houston today. Then they go to play Chicago tomorrow. They're going to lose to Chicago tomorrow. They'll lose 4 straight games without Jokic here to drop from the 2 seed to the 5. So they were the 2. Now they'll be the 5. With like 9 games left in the season for seeding. So they're probably going to be around the fourth or fifth seed line. So maybe they win that 4-5. I can see them winning the 4-5 battle. And then they play the Thunder in the second round. And they're going to get absolutely dismantled.
Because it's Shai. Because of fucking
No,
Shai.
it's not just Shai. It's because their defense is historical. No, it's not.
What?
It's because I'm gonna tell you.
It's not just Shai.
Hold on, I'm gonna tell you to see why they upset and they think that they're gonna get destroyed because their defense is trash. Because
no, that's not just
Jokic part of that.
Hold on. Because Jokic is a weak link on defense that teams are going to exploit. The Denver Nuggets is one of the worst defensive units in the NBA, largely due because how bad Nikola Jokic is defensively.
That's not true, Mookie. This is the reason why, Mookie, this is the reason why they're going to get destroyed. And it's the reason why Minnesota destroyed them last year. Because last year Minnesota was the number 1 rated defense in the NBA. This year Oklahoma City is the number 1 rated defense in the NBA. Jokic is going to be the best player like he was against Minnesota last year. I think you can check these stats. So hold on, somewhere around 29, 11, and 9. Hold on.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Hold on. Somewhere around. Wait, you want to look? You know what? Let's look up the whole series and game 7.
He was not better than Ant-Man.
Hold on, Ant-Man was ass in Game 7. Yes, he was. He was the best player of both teams.
Ant-Man was a more. Hold on, Tony. See, Ant-Man was a more valuable defender, and on top of that, throughout the consistency, we talk about heights that he was able to perform at was much better than Nikola Jokic. I mean, let's not
hold on. Let's go through this. Let's go through this 7-game series real fast. Minnesota, Denver last year. Okay, for the series. Anthony Edwards average. This is a great series for him. 27.7 points, 5.7 assists, 5.1 rebounds on 50% shooting from the field. Tremendous series for him. Nikola Jokic for the series, 29 points per game, 11 rebounds per game, 8 assists. He scored more. He had more rebounds. He had more assists, and he shot 52%. So
Ant was more efficient. Ant was more efficient.
Can I finish the point?
Hold on, Scat. Ant was more efficient, and they didn't exploit the way that they did to Jokic throughout this series. They exploit the weakness that he had in his game.
29, 12, and 8 a game is on 53% shooting is exploiting. Think about what you're saying. Think about that.
Okay. Hold on. Think of what
the offense was not close, bro.
Oh, Jokic shot 22% from the 3-point line. Teams was daring Nikola Jokic to shoot open threes, which put a dent in the whole Denver Nuggets offense, bro. So when you look at the shots that he was not hitting from that accuracy in that clip compared to the regular season average, that was a weakness that was being exploited in Jokic's game. It's his
Mookie.
While Anthony Edwards,
I hear you. Can we look at Anthony Edwards in Game 7, my guy? Bro, let's look everything you just said. Let's look at Game 7. Wait, Mookie, can I finish? Please let me get this point. Let me get this point, Mookie. In Game 7, where the Denver Nuggets had a 20-point lead and lost that game 90-80. Okay, in that game, Nikola Jokic's team scored 80 points for the game. For that game, Jokic had 34 points, 19 rebounds, and 7 assists. I'll give it to you. He was only 13 of 28 from the field that game. A pretty poor 46% shooting for that game. In that Game 7, though, Anthony Edwards, who was the more valuable, better player, Anthony Edwards in that Game 7, 16 points, my guy. 6 of 24 shooting. 6 of 24. 2 of 10 from 3. He got rescued by his supporting cast. His supporting cast, which included Jaden McDaniels, who had a huge game. And there was the defense, the team defense that held the Nuggets to 80 points, despite Jokic dropping 34, 19, and 7 in that game. And that is my total point of why they're going to get destroyed by Oklahoma City this year. Jokic is the best player. He will be the best player. He will get his, but the other players unequivocally stink against elite dug-in defenses. The Timberwolves exposed Michael Porter Jr. They exposed Jamal Murray, and the Thunder will do that to them this year. They have dogs on the perimeter, not just Shai. They've got 3-4 dogs defensively on the perimeter that are going to obliterate the Nuggets guard play. And then they've got 2 elite bigs underneath in Chet and Hartenstein, who are there as elite rim protectors and elite defenders at the front court if anyone does get by. I don't see any way the Nuggets can even win a single game off the Thunder. They are that much better than Denver. But the fact that the Nuggets are going to be the 50-win team they are just shows how valuable Jokic is.
No, it just shows you how valuable the players is, because it values
his cast.
It's valuable how the weak teams that they're beating up. Because Scap, all I got to do is ask you, what is Jokic's record against elite deep teams in the NBA when he's playing?
Yeah, they're not good because they're not a good team.
I tell you, they're 0-2 against the Cavs. They're 0-2 against the Boston Celtics. They're 0-2 against the Knicks. They're 1-1. They're 1-2 against the Lakers. They're 1-2 against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So that just tell you that SGA is able to beat more teams.
They're 2-2 against the Thunder. They're 2-2. They're 2-2 against the Thunder.
Okay,
They're 2-2, and the Thunder are substantially better than them. I literally can't believe they won 2 games.
Wait, hold on. Well, did Jokic play one of those Laker games you brought up?
I'm not done yet. Now, Scat want to bring up what his Ant-Man did in the game 7. Well, let's remind the people what did Jokic do in the game 7. He was up 20 points going into the second half of the game and blew a 20-point lead game 7 at home. That is embarrassment. In the second half of that game, Jokic had a plus minus of a -23. He was 2 for 8 from the 3-point line, and he was 7 of 16 from the field. That's 43% from the field, my guy. Now, when you're looking at Nikola Jokic,
hold on. He had 34, 19, and 7. He had 34, 19, and 7 in a game where the team scored 80 points. Can you look at everyone other than him and Murray? Please. Can you look at everyone other than him and Murray in that game?
Hell no.
Bro, the third leading scorer in that game was Michael Porter Jr. with 7 points on 3 of 12. That was the third leading scorer in that game 7. In a game that scored 80 points.
And who was the leading scorer? Who was the leading scorer of the Minnesota Timberwolves?
Probably Cat.
I think, honestly, it might have been McDaniels. It was McDaniels and Cat. And McDaniels and Cat both had 23. Conley had 10. Gobert had 10. Had 13. Now Reed had 11. They have a better team.
Everybody. Who guarded Cat? It was Nikola Jokic.
No,
Jokic
he didn't.
Was getting his ass smoked by Karl Anthony
He didn't guard Cat.
And they got him serious as well. Jokic's man is Cat. And
he didn't know. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it wasn't. It's Gobert. It's not Cat. That's a lie.
Jokic guarded Cat, and Aaron Gordon guarded Rudy Gobert for Aaron Gordon to be able to roam off of Rudy Gobert and be able to be that second.
Roam? No, he did it, bro. You're just lying at this point. Why would they put Jokic on Cat, bro? AG's not a roamer. AG is someone that has to be on the ball, bro.
Aaron Gordon is a roamer. He's somebody.
No, he's not. He guards the best wing. What are you talking about? He's not a roamer.
He is a roamer.
Aaron Gordon always guards the best wing. You're lying, bro. You're just making shit up, bro.
Not cutting me off. Now, like I sat there and said, Nikola Jokic was absolutely terrible. He was dog shit in that game 7. He didn't do anything in the second half. Hold on, Snap. He didn't do anything in that second half of the game. There's times where he settled for open 3-pointers instead of bending the defense, driving the ball to the basket, being able to force defenders to come over there and collapse and be able to get to the basket. He just settled for jumpers. That's why he was inefficient as a 3-point shooter, and that's why the weakness was exposed in his 3-point jump shooting, which put a dent in the whole Denver Nuggets offense. Jokic shot 2 for 10 from the 3-point line. 2 for 10. That's 20%. He was garbage, my guy. And then when we talk about his defense, I mean, Rudy Gobert hit a turnaround jump shot on him.
That has nothing to do with Jokic defense. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
He was out of positions. He was late on rotations. He was not getting back off the ball screens as well. He wasn't doing nothing.
Damn, I thought it was 2 for 8.
In the second half of that game 7, in the second half, Jokic had 21 points on 7 of 16 shooting in the second half. Jamal Murray had 11 points on 5 of 12. He was 1 of 7 from 3 during the second half. And then, hold on, the next highest scoring player, you literally can't make this up. The next highest scoring player in the second half was Michael Porter Jr. on 1 of 5 shooting. So in the second half, in that game 7, let me finish this. Hold on, can I finish this? In the second half of the game 7 that you're referencing, where Jokic choked, He had 21 points. Jamal had 11. Michael Porter Jr. had 3. Christian Brown had 2. No one else even scored a single point.
What did
Literally,
Jokic?
you have Michael Porter Jr. and Christian Brown combining for 5 points.
What did Jokic do in the game?
In fact, the whole second half.
No,
cumulatively scored. Let me just get this. You could talk for the next hour if I get this one point out. For the whole second half of that game 7, Nikola Jokic scored 21 points. The rest of his team scored 17 in the second half of game 7.
Instead of shooting 10 threes.
Scap, what did Jokic do in the game 6?
Game 6.
When they got smoked by 30. What did he do in the game 6, Scap? Give me Jokic's stat line in game 6.
What I'll tell you what, Mookie. I'll do that if I can get if you'll let me talk for game 5.
I want to know what he did in the game 6, Cap.
Can I? And we'll go over game 5 after that.
He was hold on. He was up 3
over both. We'll do game 4. We'll do 5 and 6.
By damn near 40 in a game 6.
Okay, and they won by 25 in game 5.
I tell you what Jokic did. He scored 22 points, 0 for 4 from the 3-point line, had 3 turnovers. He was a plus minus of a negative 25 and shot 47% from the field. In the game 6, he's severely. And when we're looking at Anthony Edwards, this is when Anthony Edwards is down 3-2 against Nikola Jokic. 27 points, plus minus of 43, which is the highest on this team and the highest in the game. He shot 44% from the field, 47% from the field, 44% from the 3-point line, and 87% from the free throw line as well. So
Mookie, okay. Let me go over game 5, please. Can I go over game 5? Because let me tell you the context of the series. Hold on. Let me tell you the context of the series. The Timberwolves smoked the Nuggets in 2 games in Denver to start the series, like crushed them in 2 games to start the series. Then the Nuggets went and took 2 games away from Minnesota on the road. So it's 2-2 going into game 5. In that game 5, Anthony Edwards had 18 points on 5 of 15 shooting, was a minus 12 on the game. Nikola Jokic for that same game had 40 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, was a plus 21 on 69% shooting from the field. So we can do it. We can look at it any which way you want to do it. For the series, Nikola Jokic averaged 29 points per game, 13 rebounds, and 8 assists on 52% shooting.
Against the best defense. Again, hold on. And
4-time defensive player of the year.
Yeah, but hold on. But I expect somebody to do. Time out. I expect somebody to do that when they're not even doubling Jokic. They play Jokic 1-on-1.
They were not. They were not.
That's a narrative.
They played him with Cat up front, and they had Gobert roaming over the top on him.
They did not treat Jokic as a scorer.
That's a lie. That's a BS narrative, bro.
Things that aren't true.
When you look at what Steve Kerr sat there and said, our game plan against Nikola Jokic is we're gonna stay home to the
Steve
shooter,
Kerr,
and we're gonna let Jokic get all his points in the post.
Steve Kerr coaches the Warriors, not the Timberwolves. From game 1 and 2 and 3, when they were down 2-0 in that series, or I think Minnesota was like 2-1. You're just making stuff up.
From games 3, 4, and 5, they did not double Jokic whatsoever. They sat there and said, Jokic, we're going to allow you to beat us 1-on-1. We're staying home to Michael Porter Jr. We're not allowing things to occupy on the weak side.
How does that help your argument? Like you're making up this argument. Like your argument, 3, 4, hold on. 3, 4, and 5 that they didn't guard him and double team him. That actually helps Jokic's case because he was so dominant individually when they didn't truly respect him. Actually, your argument is the point is when they actually made Jokic a scorer, quote unquote, and they didn't double him 3-5. That's when the Nuggets won. That's when they had most success. So this idea they didn't guard him as a scorer for the whole series, and that was. When they did guard him as a scorer, bro. You just said it, bro. You just said the games. You said games 3 and 4 and 5. They didn't double him.
When they doubled Nikola Jokic, that's when they had success with that offense.
You just flip flop your position. You just flip flop.
When they doubled Nikola Jokic, that's when they had success within the offense. right? That's when they double him because guys like Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and these other guys were shooting well. I think one time Aaron Gordon had a 3-point game where he was shooting like 50-something% from the 3-point line. Aaron Gordon shot 60% from the 3-point line throughout that whole series. So my point is, my point is to sit there and say is that the reason why Nikola Jokic averaged way more points than Ant is because they didn't double team him. They would allow guys like Cat to be able to guard Nikola Jokic, which Cat clamped his ass in game 6 and game 7. And then they will allow Nikola Jokic to be able to operate in the post.
Okay,
there's nothing.
Time they did single him with Gobert from time to time throughout the series, who is a 4-time defensive player of the year, who was defensive player of the year last year. Hold on, and when Rudy was singled on him, Jokic was destroying him. So they moved to a tactic where they were playing him, fronting him front up with Cat, and they had Gobert roaming around on defense behind, essentially doubling him with those two guys.
Please, I really need to address your point. First of all, the coach references Steve Kerr the worst. That's not the Timberwolves series. That's point one. And second of all, you just hold on. Your point's not even coherent, bro. You said they made him a scorer. They let him score, and then you brought up games 3, 4, and 5 where they didn't double him and force him to score. But those are the games the Nuggets won. Like it makes no like the argument's not fun. I don't get what you're trying to say here. So then when you said, they started doubling Jokic, like that's when Nuggets had their most offensive success. But in 3, 4, and 5, the games they won, they all single covered them. Like that you understand how that doesn't follow?
Hold on. First of all, they didn't double Nikola Jokic. Because if you double Nikola Jokic, that would equal instant buckets for the.
Okay, forget double. That's not the term. Double is not the point here, bro. That's not okay.
So in game 6 and game 7 for all of those key pivotal series, this is what we bring up in game 6 and game 7. They had Cat guarding Nikola Jokic. He had great positional defense, forced him to fade away, off balance looks, and be able to use his size and his strength to make Jokic work. They didn't double.
And had the defensive player of the year roaming on the back line.
If you double Nikola Jokic, guys like Michael Porter Jr., KCP, and these other guys will get open looks. So that's why I sat there and said they didn't double. They was not overcommitted. This is what they would do. They would dig, rotate weak side. That's what they did. They would stunt, rotate weak side. So if Jokic is on the elbow on the nail, you would have another weak side defender coming in, dig, rotate weak side. They were not fully committing on a double team like they were doing in games 1 and games 2. From games 3 and on forward, they was digging, rotate weak side. A dig is not the same thing as a double. That's basketball.
The term double. The term double. That actually serves no purpose here. You said made him a scorer. That's what you said.
Yes, they made him a scorer. You don't fear Jokic scoring. Then you do his playmaking and passing.
But that's not.
You don't want to double Jokic because he's so good at reading the defense, reading the court that he can manipulate defenders and getting open looks.
But you make it seem like it's a bad thing. But that's more to do about Jokic's playmaking than his lack of scoring chops, bro. Like that's not
when you bring up the scoring. Well, it's easy for a guy to be able to score when he's 1-on-1. Anthony Edwards was getting double.
But he's not 1-on-1.
Ball screens, and
he's not 1-on-1.
He's not 1-on-1. They're sending help. You think just because of the double? Hold on. You think? Hold on. No. See, here's what you're trying to do. You're trying to. No, they didn't, bro. They sent help. They sent help, bro. Just hold on. Just because it's not a double team doesn't make it 1-on-1, bro.
First of all, real fast. Hold on.
Just because you have backline help, they still
real fast.
Let me say.
I'm gonna have to. At some point, I'm gonna have to drop off. But I want to know before I do, and I'm gonna hang on as much as I can. Who is this dude on here that's making the most sense today with this little chihuahua looking icon here?
I'm King J.
King J, it's been a pleasure with you here today. I just want to.
Of course, y'all joking sexual. Y'all
Jokic Blazers.
Y'all.
But you know what it is? Like I'm the only Jokic. I like.
Oh my God.
All right, man. The goat's here. Let's get back to topic. Yo, Mookie, the goat's here. Let's get back to topic.
But hold on.
I want to read this. He said defensive box plus minus is a horrible stat. According to the defensive box plus minus, Jokic is 0.5 higher than Wemby 0.6 over Draymond, 0.7 over Shai, and Dyson Daniels, etc. Everyone knows Jokic isn't a better, especially by that margin.
That's not the argument.
Because he doesn't play with the second cast.
You talking about the argument
Mookie, he barely plays with the supporting cast. So these on-off numbers and all these advanced stats favor him, but these Jokic fans will let you know that. You know what I'm saying? They
I don't know where the others at.
Your center shoot 8 for 30, shoot fucking 35 threes and make 8 of them. But y'all ain't saying nothing about that though. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Y'all blaming everybody. This motherfucker shot 35.
Also, he said Cade Cunningham has 30 double doubles in 9. Hold on. He said Cade Cunningham has 30 double. Hold on, Tony C. He said Cade Cunningham has 30 double doubles and 9 triple doubles. Shai has 5 double doubles. No one is arguing that Cade has a higher impact. Versatility doesn't equal more impactful. Facts. Damn.
No one said that though.
No, and I just want to say one more thing to he's not Jokic. No one worries about him scoring. The Nuggets played 20 games in the 2023 playoffs. That is a large ass sample size. 20 games. Nikola Jokic averaged 30 points per game in the playoff run. Bro, to say that no one worries about Jokic as a scorer or that Jokic isn't a great scorer, my man, like, people aren't out here averaging 30 points per game for an entire playoff run where they win an NBA championship and play 20 games if they're not a great scorer, okay?
Hey, chat, all you got to do is ask, hey, Scap, can I ask you a question? Name me what was Jokic's highest scoring game in the playoffs.
Probably 50. I guess the Suns, right? 55 or something.
Okay, name me how many doubles did the Suns send to Nikola Jokic?
I don't know.
0, my guy. 0. That shows you that they would live with Jokic dropping 50, then letting Jamal Murray dropping 20 or 30.
Okay, but here's the problem with your argument. Here's the problem with your argument, right? The Nuggets offense that game was more efficient than their postseason average. So when they did a double Jokic, it actually made the Nuggets more effective on offense.
That can show you how trash the Suns defense was. They didn't have the.
What are you talking about? You just. What does that have to do with anything? That doesn't have to do with anything, bro. That has nothing to do with the argument. We're not talking about the Suns defense, bro. Hold on. Don't do this. You move the goalposts.
Of course, your offense is going to be efficient when you're playing a trash Suns defense. Of course,
but you just moved the goalposts, bro. You said you brought up. Oh well, Jokic when he scored 55, he didn't get doubled. Well, okay, sure. If I grant you that, I grant you that. Well. The Nuggets offense was still more efficient with them single covering Jokic. Like this argument that oh well, make Jokic just score and single cover him, that has not worked historically. You just said it 3, 4, and 5 against the Super Wolves when they made him a score. That's the games they won. And then you just brought up the Suns game where he scored 55 where they single covered them. They were more efficient. Like you just bringing this up. Like this is not helping your argument.
Hold on. That literally helps my argument to the point where you brought up offense and how they were efficient. The reason why they were efficient because obviously when you're going against a terrible Suns defense, naturally your offensive rating is going to be more efficient than defense. Their offense was still efficient.
How many points did he score that game?
What points?
Against the Suns. How many points did he score?
He scored what games?
The game you brought up, game 4. It was game 4 versus the Suns.
Some points, but that's
no. How much did the Nuggets score? As a team,
I don't know. You gotta look it up. But my point is to sit there and say this,
right, bro.
You got to understand that teams does not fear Jokic scoring whatsoever. They will concede Jokic scoring in the paint or score in the block. Or
oh my goodness, bro!
Think about what you're saying.
Fear in the playmaking and passing.
Think about what you're saying, though. You're saying no one fears him. They're just letting him score. He's 3rd in scoring this year for the entire league-wide average for the entire season. But he's also 2nd in assists. He's also the best playmaker in the NBA. Like
they fear. They fear Jokic's playmaking and passing. They fear his playmaking and passing more than they do his scoring.
But that's still not a bad thing. You try to frame it like a bad thing.
My point is to sit there and say is that. When you then compare it to somebody that teams fear scoring and they can still be able to take the top off the defense, still be able to score more points than a guy that's basically getting played one-on-one because he has elite spacing with him. Jokic, from the majority of his career, has always had elite level spacing in him. Then obviously I'm going to value that more because at the end of the day, not only he's getting double teamed, not only he's getting blitzed, not only teams are treating him as a scorer, but he's still scoring with some of the best of them than guys that get played one-on-one.
Like,
so I'm going to value that more than Nikola Jokic.
Like, bro, I'm looking at the Suns game. Like, the Nuggets scored 124 points, bro. In the game, you scored 55, bro. And like your argument's all over the place, not coherent, bro. Because you try to say
it's very coherent. You hold on. Here's the problem.
Hold on, listen, bro. Listen.
You got Jokic jocks in your ears, bro. That's what I'm saying.
No. I don't give a fuck with you. But here's the problem with your argument. Like even the evidence you bring up to try and support your argument, it works against you. Because the Nuggets have the most success is when they single cover and they don't fear him as a scorer. That's what you brought up. You brought up games 3, 4, and 5 with the single cover Jokic. Those are the games the Nuggets offense was at its best and when they won, bro. And you just brought that up as evidence. It doesn't work. It actually goes against your point.
Yeah, but
that team should fear Jokic as a scorer. Hold on. One more thing.
Hold on. Time out. Your evidence is wrong. Because more
that's your evidence, not mine.
No. You try to say that they had more success. That's not true. They don't have more success when teams single coverage Jokic. That's not true. And your only measuring stick is off of one game. When Nikola Jokic, when Nikola Jokic in games 3 and game 4, where they played them single coverage, they didn't double team, they allowed them to beat them by itself in Phoenix series. They lost both games, brother.
This is what you said. You said.
All right, King J, you gotta listen. You just not listening. Let me say this for the last time. In games 3 and games 4, when they were single and covering Nikola Jokic, the team lost. They lost in game 3, they lost in game 4. Phoenix tied the series going to game 5. Now, from the whole totality of the series, it was a mix and match, and they was able to beat Phoenix series. But we've seen when the Clippers doubled Nikola Jokic in the bubble, how Jamal Murray was litting their ass for 40. That just show you that the offense have more success when you double Nikola Jokic, right? And feed it to the shooters like Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr.
If they're making their shots.
And Denver Nuggets in the Minnesota Timberwolves series in games 3, 4, 5, and 6 and 7, right? When they were doubling, where they were playing Jokic single coverage, they wasn't winning games. They wasn't. And in game 6 and game 7, when they were single covering Nikola Jokic, they lost the key pivotal games.
But Mookie, if Jokic scored 34 points on 47% shooting, and the rest of his team combined, they totally scored 80 points as a whole unit. Like, how is that Nikola Jokic failing scoring? Like, he scored 34 points on the best net rated defense in the NBA on relatively high shooting, 47% on the best. Okay, but in the second half, bro, he had 21 points, and the rest of his team combined to have 16.
And
how is that him failing?
He shot 47% for a big man. That's inefficient. He shot 20%.
Bro, he's shooting jump shots and three-point shots half the time.
And he was inefficient at that, brother.
47% against the number 1 rated defense in the league and 34 points. Can you answer this? And then the second half where they lost the lead and he had 21 points on 7 of 16. Like the rest of his team had 16 points on like 20% shooting.
Part of the reason why they lost the lead is because number 1, Jokic couldn't bend the defense because he settled for too many jumpers. Number 2, he was getting torched defensively. He was out of position most of the time defensively. And number 3, he shot 47% from the field, my guy, and with a negative plus minus of a negative 23. You're placing empty stats. Just like you do these LeBron
The entire team minus Jokic had 16 points in the entire second half combined as a whole unit on like 25% shooting in the game 7. And that's Jokic's fault.
Hold on. Can I address it? Hold on. Can I address this point real quick, Mookie? So the 2 games you referenced, right, that the Nuggets lost versus the Suns where they single covered him. Do you know what their offensive rating was with Jokic on the floor?
I don't care about on and off, but Jokic's offense.
No, I didn't say on and off. I said hold on. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna demonstrate a point here because your point was that the Nuggets lost when the defense made Jokic more of a scorer, right? Where they were less effective overall, right? The Nuggets offense in those 2 games you brought up had a 125 offensive rating with Jokic on the floor. That would be number 1 in today's NBA. They were still elite on offense when they made him a scorer. Even the games you brought up versus the Wolves, they were still elite on offense when they made him, when they quote unquote made him a score 1-on-1. That's what you said.
And that got him to 2 L's. That they lost the game when.
But we're talking about the offensive end. They lost because their defense couldn't hold up. But their offense was more efficient when they made him a scorer.
My point is to sit there and say, when Jokic was forced to be a scorer, they did not have success. And we looking at terms of being able to win with Nikola Jokic. They didn't. That's why they lost 2 of the fucking games and games 3 and games 4. So when you bring up the offensive rating, of course, I expect your offensive rating to be that high when Nikola Jokic is single coverage going against a trash weak ass defender in DeAndre.
Well, you just said that's the good game plan on offense. And then you're gonna say, "Well, I expect you to be effective with that." Like you're double talking. It makes no sense.
AJ, you're not listening. You're not listening.
Right,
you just wanted.
You just contradicted yourself.
No, it's not contradict. You're not understanding my point. My point is to sit there and say you brought up offensive rating and how the team performs when Jokic is single coverage. My point is to sit there and say it works when you have a good defense. When you have a
that's not what you said.
Yes, it is. When you have a good defense, a good post defense, and good defenders in the post as well, then yes, that offense is going to drop off tremendously. The reason why it elevated with the Suns defense, and this is why I kept on bringing this point up again, is because the Suns defense is trash. No post defenders, no backline help defenders, and they didn't have nobody to guard Jokic whatsoever, and they were undersized. So of course your defense is going to.
So let me ask you.
But it still has success within the team.
Okay. Suns guard. Did the Timberwolves single cover Jokic games 3, 4, and 5?
Games three, and you said games 3
through 5. Did the Timberwolves single cover Jokic?
They single coverage them in game 6 and 7. Okay,
no, they didn't.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Game 6 and 7, they single coverage them. They single coverage them. They had Cat. Hold on, I'm about to say it. They had Jokic on the low post. You had Ant digging from on the top of the key. You had Rudy Gobert guarding the dunker spot. So yes, they had help, but they were single coverage in the post. They didn't fully commit to a double team.
Your argument doesn't follow. You said earlier that they single. You said earlier, bro. That's what you said. Hold on.
King J, that's a horrible point.
Hold on. This is single coverage, my guy.
Yeah, King J, you don't know what you're talking about, King J.
All right, whatever. Hold on, bro. You're not listening, bro. You're not listening. You said earlier. This is
single coverage.
Hold on, bro. You said game. Hold on, bro. You said games 3, 4, and 5. The reason why Jokic was okay. All right, bro.
I want y'all to look at this. This is single coverage.
Are you bringing up one single play?
No, we got tons of skills.
Anthony Edwards on the top of the key.
We got tons.
This is evidence, my guy. This is evidence.
Look at this.
We can't even see it.
You can see it.
It's so laggy.
It's all over the place.
You can see it. You see this evidence gap. You see this evidence gap.
Replay that possession.
But you showed one play though.
Okay, let's see.
We got tons of evidence, Scap. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it, Scap.
King J, quick question, bro. Is your real name Jay?
It's Justin.
Okay, I'm Jay. My first name's actually Jay. So it's a pleasure from one Jay to another Jay, you know.
Wait, can I see that again? Did he airball that, Mookie? Can you replay that? Can I see that again?
It's laggy. I can't even see it.
I know. I can't even see anything here.
Oh, you can't see it. Well, of course the Jokic fans can't see it.
It's laggy as hell.
It's not pretty clear.
Hey, wait, Mookie. Let me bring up a credible point though. I want to address this because I will give you that Jokic, he struggled from 3 in that Minnesota series, and that was definitely he had to play like virtually every single minute in the game, and they were basically giving him the threes, and he did struggle at times. I think Nikola Jokic had no other weakness on offense at all. I think if you try to make him a scorer, that's a bad move. I think if you try to make him a distributor, that's a bad move. But the 3 last year, he did struggle against Minnesota. So what did he do in the offseason? He eliminated that weakness too. He's shooting like 41 or 42% from the 3-point line this year. He was like top, I don't know where he's at right now, but he was 1 or 2 league wide in 3-point efficiency for the vast majority of the season. So, I mean, you're giving Jokic no credit for what he's done this season in the regular season.
Credit to Jokic, I think that's an anomaly because I don't think that this is going to be a consistent trend. I don't think he's going to shoot 47, 45% in the playoffs from the 3-point line. But credit to him, he's making those shots. But most of those shots, most of his 3-point shot, Scap, is uncontested. You imagine if you give,
because that's the only thing they can do. Just give him
60% of
that's what I'm saying. That's why I said they're still giving him uncontested 3-point jump shots because they will live with Jokic shooting threes because they know that that's not really his strong suit. They won't allow the problem with
top 2 in league.
Hold on, but Scap, the problem with Jokic is if you put him inside within the paint or deep position in the paint within the lanes, he's shooting 62% in that range. So teams is trying to funnel him out of that. That's why teams are trying to, front him in the post, trying to, jab at him, send 2 to him, keep things occupied at weak side, right? So they want Jokic to shoot those 3-pointers. Credit to him, he's making those 3-point shots. But if he can sustain in the playoffs, then we can see if we can have another conversation.
Yeah, you tip your cap to him if you shoot 40%, 47%.
Yeah, I don't think they're still
going to lose badly in the second round at best.
Yeah. But Zach, you had some comments on this conversation. You want to cook my good old friend Scap on
I was just listening at it. You know what I'm saying? I was listening, especially with these Jokic fans. They tend to run to the same problem, man. Like, especially for me, I was kind of critical of Jokic ever since this NBA MVP debate came up this season a couple of years ago. Especially most of these Jokic fans, man, the same advanced stats I've been noticing. I was hearing Scap talk. I was hearing King J talk. They use the same 3 advanced stats: on, off, VORP.
I never use VORP.
And then EPM.
I never use VORP EPN. You're just lying.
Okay, you use on off all the time.
No, I don't. I use on the court. I don't use on off. Oh, no. He's gonna lie. No, he lied. Hold on. I did not bring on. Hold on. No. I bring up on court. I do not bring up. Hold on. I bring up on court. I don't bring them on off. There's
you don't bring up on-off at all. You're such a liar. But let me continue on with what I'm saying.
All right, go ahead.
The number one issue with on-off, Mookie, I've said this multiple times. Someone like Nikola Jokic barely plays with the second unit. He does not play with the second unit as these other players are. So his on-off looks
Can you
great.
provide that? Can you provide the numbers on that, please?
Absolutely. Let me bring it up right now.
Can we see?
Hey, Scott, before you provide those numbers, because I want to move on to this. If you think, and I want to ask you a question, Scott, because you've been praising this guy throughout the whole stream, because I guess y'all, the Jokic fanboys, collision, taking down the guys that against him. If someone were to say that Nikola Jokic offensive peak clears Kobe, what would you say?
Let me just say why. Let me just explain why I like Jokic real quick. I think it would be a good time while he's looking up these numbers. I actually was anti-Jokic when he won his first 2 league MVPs, pretty much, because he wasn't winning in the playoffs. Regardless of the fact that Jamal Murray missed both of those seasons when he won those MVPs, I was kind of a Jokic critic, and I used him initially because I hate this era. Basically, post 2010, 2011 till now, I think it's just a weak, pitiful era. So I actually was just using Jokic and the advanced metrics, which again, I've said earlier that I've hated most of my life. I use them as a way to make fun of this era primarily. Because the advanced metrics, which have been championed for LeBron, in my estimation, and built to uplift a player like LeBron over other better players, I use Nikola Jokic as a tool to make fun and humiliate those cases, because Nikola Jokic is the greatest advanced player ever. LeBron has never been able to pass Jordan in BPM or PER. Nikola Jokic has surpassed Jordan substantially. He is a full point better than Michael Jordan in BPM for a career. So I've used Nikola Jokic primarily just as a joke, as a way to make fun of this era. But as I've watched him, as I've seen what he has surrounding him, the main reason I hate this era isn't because of the soft and non-existent defense and the players who are barely playing half of the time. The reason I hate this era primarily is because of the weak-minded losers who have been the best players of the era. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, the dudes who run to other great players and beg them to help them steal as many garbagey titles as they can get. The reason I love Nikola Jokic and will defend him till the end. And Giannis. I want to throw Giannis Antetokounmpo in this same mix because I see him the same way.
You better get done.
Is because those two guys, Giannis and Jokic, and look, maybe Giannis makes me a fool and leaves Milwaukee and throws his teammates under the bus and goes to build some super team. But to this point, Giannis and Jokic are class personified superstars. They have stayed in their small, minuscule markets with their non-existing supporting casts, and they have both won titles. They both have championships. So you're asking me to compare Jokic and Kobe from a historical standpoint. I wanted to explain why I think so highly of Nikola Jokic, but no, I don't have him over Kobe Bryant. I have Kobe above Jokic in every way, shape, or form. And that is despite the fact that Kobe is not an elite advanced player.
You can't fall
so
out.
So you think Jokic, you think Kobe a better offensive player than
I think
Jokic.
Kobe is I think Kobe is the one of the 3 greatest scorers ever. I would put him, quite frankly, I would put him above Wilt. I put him and Jordan in a class of their own. Kobe and Jordan.
Wait, so you have Wilt number 3 as a scorer?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too high.
And then I think I've got KD in the mix as well in my top 5 to 7 scorers. That
I found evidence, so we could go back to me, Mookie.
But hold on, Zach. We're gonna move. So you think Kobe is better offensively? Why is it?
Because Kobe is, to me, look, I'm probably never gonna put anybody above Jordan. But to me, it's really close. Like Kobe's peak, to me, that dude was the greatest scorer that I've ever seen. I think when I was alive to see it, late. I think mid 80s to early 90s Jordan, which I didn't really see. I think he probably was on a higher level than Kobe. But other than that, Kobe to me, prime Kobe to me was better than second 3P Jordan in my book. And I think from a scoring standpoint, Kobe Bryant did things in an era of total inefficiency where scoring was mid 90s, basically. When Kobe was in his peak, scoring was 95, 96 points per game. It's 114 right now. It was 111 in the 80s. It was 116 in the 60s. Kobe is top 3 all time in 40, 50, 60 point games ever, playing in that inefficient era for the totality of his career. And the way he scored, I'm sorry, that dude had no flaw to his offensive game. I think to me, it is disrespectful to bring other people like LeBron, who, because of the totality of the points he scored, disrespectful to mention him in the same caliber of score as Kobe Bryant. Even people bring up Shai today, let's dump Shai in the NBA where it's 95 points per game and 3 or 4 dudes hanging off of him like Kobe had every night and averaging 35 for a whole season.
He was still scoring effectively. I think hold on. I think, Scap, I sat there and said this version of SGA is better than 06 Kobe.
Disrespectful. Insane. Insane.
Why is it disrespectful? Why?
Insane.
Why is it disrespectful? I mean, let me tell you what Shai doing. He shoot better from the field than Kobe. He shoots better from the rim than Kobe. He's more efficient than Kobe. And per 75 possessions, even though Kobe is +2 in volume, he's way more efficient relative to his time. And Kobe in 06, I know you know this, Scap. He wasn't that elite level of a defender, Scap. You know that.
He's first team All-NBA defense that year.
But you all know that Phil Jackson said that Kobe shouldn't deserve some of the defensive teams in 06 because he didn't have the principle and the discipline to be able to stay committed on off-ball defense.
He did say that in 04, to be fair. To be honest, he said 04. He didn't say 06.
And where was that? In his book, in Phil Jackson's book about Kobe being uncoachable? Was that?
Yeah.
Was that where he said that?
Didn't he come back and coach him?
I have the numbers right here, bro. SGA was 72% at the rim this year, while Kobe's 60%. He's more efficient in the mid-range. He takes less free throws than Kobe in 06, and he shoots better than Kobe.
Well, tell him go score 81 then.
Huh? Why did he score 81?
Because
because his team he wins by he's so valuable that even without Chet playing, he beats teams by 30 points and he sits out the fourth quarter. That's why SGA.
And Jokic is better at all those things this year than SGA. So what are we saying?
Better than what? Better than what? And what?
He's more efficient than SGA.
He's not more efficient in the mid range than SGA.
He shoots a higher. Does he? I don't have the numbers in front of me. Does he not shoot a higher effective field goal percentage than SGA? Yes or no? This year, yes or no? A higher effective field goal percentage.
Yes.
Shai or Jokic? I don't know.
Jokic.
Okay. Higher true shooting. Hold on. Higher true shooting percentage. Shai or Jokic?
Joker.
Higher. Hold on. Higher field goal percentage. Jokic or Shai?
It's Joker. Yeah, Joker. Again.
Yeah. Higher 3-point shooting. Shai or Jokic?
Jokic, listen.
Okay, Jokic is better at all of those things. He's more efficient at all of those things than Shai is this year. And you're trying to tell me that because Shai checks all those boxes now in a league where it's 114 per game, he's better than Kobe in a league that was 96 per game.
This is the thing. Hold on. This is the thing. When we bring up all those the things that we brought up between, like when you bring up Shai and Jokic, right? Jokic's degree of difficulty is not better than Shai. See, Shai is getting all his shot diet on tough contested twos and be able to get to the rim. Jokic is getting most of his shot diet. That's why you mentioned the effective field goal percentage. Well, if most of his shots come in within the paint, then of course you're going to be more efficient because a layup line 2 is more efficient than a contested midi that Shai is generating. So the degree of difficulty goes to Shai. So that's why Jokic is more efficient if you look at the raw true shooting percentage. But when we look at degree of difficulty, I think SGA is just as efficient because naturally a big man is supposed to be more efficient than a guard.
Yeah, but now when we look at Kobe's degree of difficulty.
But you're not looking at Kobe's degree of difficulty in 06. It was 10 times that of Shai's.
His team was terrible.
Hold on. But I think
you talk about court spacing and shooters. Can we look at the team that Kobe had around him in 05-06? It was Smush Parker at 1, Kwame Brown at 5, or Chris Mim, one of the two. They would Brian Cook, Lamar Odom, and Kobe. Like that. Luke Walton was their freaking 6th man. Luke Walton was that team's 6th man. And Kobe scored 35 points per game in a 96 point per game league with that filth around him.
What?
With little,
but if you look, Scap, if you look at per 75 possessions and look at SGA compared to Kobe Bryant per 75 possessions, they're scoring around the same, but SGA is +8 in efficiency compared to Kobe. Also, when we're looking at the advantages that Shai creates more than Kobe, a guy that is consistently getting to the rim, consistently putting defenders into jail, be able to maneuver in tight spaces and still be able to be crafty around the rim. That is advantages that Kobe cannot create more than Shai because the amount of
guys, can I make a point on this? This is just going straight slanderous now at this point. Like you can look at the per 75, but the problem, you can use per 75 or per 100 to normalize pacing and possession play for two players in the same time. But you can't, there's no way to normalize defensive intensity and effort of an era versus one to the other. There's no doubt that the baseline level of defense in the 05-06 season was substantially more difficult than what it is in today's. So the per 75 is irrelevant because you're looking at per 75 of Shai playing this competition versus per 75 of Kobe playing that competition.
Can I add something? Hold on. Can I say something? Bro, the per 75.
If you factor in pace, if you factor in the pace back in what it was back in the day and today, Shai is still more efficient and still averaging just around the points as Kobe Bryant.
Hold on. Can I? Okay. So per 75 and like relative true shooting, it's not like linear in the sense that like just because the league, I'm trying to figure out a way to explain this. Like the top players, the elite players, they benefit more from like great supporting cast and great spacing than average players. So when we say like Kobe's +3 and SGA's like +6, relative to the league is different because the elite players, they take higher leaps in relative true shooting based on spacing. So just because the league is like 5% more efficient now than it was back in 06 or something, and then you throw Kobe in here, you can't just say, oh, well, if Kobe's in it today, he's +5. His boost would be higher than +5 because he's so unguardable. He would take another leap with the spacing. Do you get it?
I disagree with that.
No, I disagree with that. I think SGA is more unguardable because his ability to get to the rim.
Okay, so let me ask you. Can I ask you?
And how the advantages he can create with his playmaking pass. As great as Kobe is as a scorer, and he was taking tough shots around three different defenders, SGA is be able to create advantages on his ability to get to the rim, Scap. Do you know how it is to be able to create advantages getting to the rim, Scap? Do you know how much pressure it has?
Can I ask you a question?
And a defense to come over there and overhelp Scap. That is advantage that nobody can create because Kobe was more. Hold on, King J. Kobe was more on linear of taking tough shots, and Kobe. Listen, 06 was absolutely a great scoring season for Kobe. But from an efficiency standpoint, the way that you love Nikola Jokic and praise his advanced numbers, his true shooting, his blocks plus minus, look at Kobe and an SGA.
Can I ask you a question, Mookie? Do you think 2024 Embiid was a better regular season scoring season than any of Peak Jordan's seasons? Regular seasons
before he got hurt.
Yeah.
Which year?
You said before.
It's a small sample size. I can't compare that.
Okay. What about 2023? He was like 33 points +6, right? That's right there with Peak Jordan. Do you think
he was on pace? Yeah.
Do you think Embiid and Jordan are like the same level
score
regular season peak wise?
Because I don't like comparing bigs in guards.
That's a cop out, man.
Wait. Rookie, can you look at Luka Doncic last year compared to peak Jordan? Then can you look at that? Luka last year versus peak Jordan.
Like peak Jordan is like I don't know. He's probably like 33 +7 or something.
Peak Jordan.
Like SGA is right there with peak Jordan. Like if you want to just look at the numbers.
Yeah,
like 34 plus. So do you think he's like the same level score?
Peak Jordan, and I think his peak from a scoring perspective was I'm looking at 89. Jordan was 32 points per game on +7.7 in efficiency.
Okay, so that's right around SGA's like 34 +6, right?
Yeah, SGA is
so 30. They're around the same. Like MJ's a little more.
Yeah.
Okay.
SGA.
Do you think they're actually like on the same level as scorers? Just looking off the stats.
No, because I think Jordan was a much better finisher, much better at getting to the rim, much better first step.
But the numbers don't bear that out, though.
Yeah, but that's why
the numbers. I don't think you're using with Kobe to say he's better than Kobe. You're not saying that they're proving the same thing.
This is me. I use the numbers and also break it down individually. I use the numbers with the eye test. Yes, Shai does have the same similar numbers than Jordan in like 89 or like 91 in those seasons where he was like averaging like 32 plus 7.7 relative true shooting percentage. But from my eye test standpoint, I mean, Shai does not clear Jordan in ability to be able to slash off the basketball. As a cutter, as a quick first step, he doesn't pass him with that aspect.
One more thing. Do you think 16 Curry had the best scoring regular season ever?
Yes.
Yeah. Regular season?
Yep.
It's up there. Yeah.
Do you think it's number one? Could you make an argument for anyone else?
19.
Jordan.
What year?
89. 32.5.
Pull up the stats, man. The stats are close. The stats are close.
Yeah.
32. Hold on. 32.5 points per game plus 7.7 relative true shooting percentage.
Okay. Pull up Curry's numbers. Pull up Curry's numbers, please.
Can we hear Curry's numbers? I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I know Curry has probably a more efficient season than Jordan, but from my eyes,
he has some beating volume, bro. I'll tell you. So you said Jordan was like 32.5, like +7, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Curry is at 33 +13. That's a huge gap, right?
Yeah,
but you're willing to argue that MJ had a better scoring peak, even though the stats are not even close.
I think from an eye test standpoint, he was much better. He was much better at getting to the rim. I think the gap in being able to finish around the rim is extremely higher. And that's the argument.
What about the 3-point shooting?
Well, they weren't shooting threes back in the day. So
but what's the gap? But what are you? Come on.
I mean, Curry is a much
even
better
relative to the league. Look at Curry. Curry laps everyone else, bro.
But I think Jordan was a much better post scorer, a much better finisher, much better a finisher in traffic. I think he was better mid range scorer. Like I think those gap is leaps and bounds over Curry as a 3-point shooter.
Defensive coverages were different.
Yeah, like
I mean, hold on. Well, Curry was getting blitzed like on every pick and roll, bro.
Not that much back in 15-16. Not that much.
No, hold on. Curry was so individually dominant as a scorer. Teams had to completely change defenses. Do you know why teams switch now? Like teams didn't switch before Curry came on the scene. They actually had to do it because that was the only. That was the only way to guard the Warriors.
Oh, KJ. What you're arguing about now is playmaking. Yes, Curry is a better.
No, not playmaking. No. I'm saying.
When I'm looking at individual scoring, I'm looking at first you have to have the advanced stats. You got to have the stats in general. So Jordan had 32.5 points per game plus 7.7 relative.
But the stats aren't close though. Even in your stats, Curry's scoring more and way more efficient.
The eye test. You have to surpass the eye test. And when I look at the eye test between Jordan and Curry, Jordan did it when we looking at terms of getting to the rim, mid-range scoring at a higher level than
higher
Steph
level,
Curry.
no wasting movements the way he drove his middle slider. Like
guys, you know what? Real quick, I want
comparing. Like you're better off comparing in another era, bro. Comparing.
Go ahead, Scott.
Hang on. With all this talk about historical and all time and stuff, I think this is an interesting point because we're talking about all time great single seasons, but in terms of for an individual year, what do you guys think? Let's even remove the playoffs because this year's playoffs haven't played out. But what are the best single season teams of all time in your opinions? Like what's the greatest single season team in NBA?
Removing playoffs?
Yeah, removing playoffs.
It gotta be 73-9 Warriors to me, man. Or it's what between
Warriors.
those. It's really those two, like the 92 Bulls and 73 Warriors. That's really it.
Celtics.
72-10.
Like removing playoffs, like Warriors had more games. They had a unanimous MVP. They had a defensive player of the year candidate. It's like it's really.
Let me sprinkle something in here for you because I've been tracking this for like a couple years now. Definitely last year I was looking at it. Two things: total like differential per game and SRS, simple rating system scale. So this year's Oklahoma City Thunder team are number one in NBA history in total differential per game. They're going to break the 70-71 Milwaukee Bucks team that had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Oscar Robertson. Number 2 on that list is the 95-96 Bulls that won 72 games. Number 3 is the Lakers, the 71-72 Lakers with Wilt and Gail Goodrich and Jerry West. And then the 67-win 2016-2017 Warriors, the first KD year, rounds out like the top 5. The Thunder are going to be the number 1 team in NBA history this year in net differential, shattering that Milwaukee Bucks record from 53 years ago, shattering it by like a full half point. When you look at simple rating system scale, SRS, when you look at simple rating scale system, they are going to break the 95-96 Bulls mark for the greatest SRS team in league history. So the Thunder this year are that good. They're that dominant. Now, does Shai play a role? He sure does. But, like, why are none of us talking about this year's Thunder team right now like they are the greatest team in NBA history? Like, they're going to absolutely eviscerate the playoff field. Like, it's not even close because that's the way I see them, and that's the way you all should be seeing them.
All that has to do, and you're just basically proving my point on why SGA is the MVP is not close. Because the fact that you brought up the simple rating system and the fact that they're the best, one of the best of all, the best of all time.
Best of all time.
And Shai is the best player on a team that you consider the best team of all time. How is he not the MVP while also producing dominant stats?
And Scott, before you go, I just want to add, they weren't even healthy most of the season. Chat missed a
Right.
bunch of games earlier in the season, and they still were making record-breaking numbers, impact-wise, differential-wise. So I feel like the MVP is really clear. I think most people have OKC cruising for the West. If not, I don't know.
So, and again, guys, I've talked about, I said this in September, that I said that this was going to be the result of this season. And I'm not even arguing that Shai is going to win the MVP. But the thing is, Shai has taken a very, very good team, an above league average team by a lot, and made them historically all-time great. But Jokic has taken a lottery team, arguably the worst team in the NBA, and made them a 50-win team. To me, that's more valuable. Like, you can argue semantics of which is more valuable. Taking a really good, way above average replacement team and making them historically relevant and historically great, or taking arguably the worst team in the NBA and making them a fringe 2 seed in their conference.
But we don't think.
You can debate me on which is more valuable to you. To me, taking a 19 or 18 win team and making them 50 is more valuable to me.
Yeah, but that's why I sat there and said, that's why I think ceiling rate, well, you bring it up as a floor raising perspective. I think ceiling raising is more valuable than floor raising, because most of the teams that have won championships and most of the players that have won championships is because they have great ceiling raisers. Jokic is nowhere near as a ceiling raiser as Shai, because we've seen this season with a good comparable team, he's able to raise the ceiling of that team to historical levels, both offensively and defensively. So yes, I think ceiling raisers is way more valuable than floor raising, and that's why I value Shai more, because most of the floor raisers, like, yeah, they're great at making things happen for the team, like playmaking, advantage creating, scoring, rebounding, and all the others, and etc. But their team struggles when that said players off the court. That's why you need a good ceiling raiser, because the ceiling raiser is like, well, I install in that principle and that system to be able to work when I'm on the floor. I can reach the historic levels, but they can still be able to. I can still be able to have an impact on that team when I'm off the floor, because the way that I've taught my team on how to play. That's why I think ceiling raising is much more valuable than floor raising.
And I see a team in Denver that never will have an all-star other than Nikola Jokic, that is 50-win perennial every year. They're winning 50 wins every year that he's been in his MVP stretch with, to me, far below average league replacement teams, and he's won an NBA title with that supporting cast. So to me, like, I think that's more valuable. But I think it's going to be bared out in the playoffs this year. Like, this conversation, it's just going to be moot, because ultimately, look, there's going to be a vote. We all know what the outcome's going to be. Probably Shai will get 80% of the first place votes, in my opinion. And the Thunder should probably lose no more than 1 game in any series that they play in the West. And then they should probably beat Boston in 5 or 6 in the NBA Finals, in my opinion. That's what I'm looking for to happen. So, like, look, we can look back on the conversation at the end and say, like, okay, well, Shai was the MVP. He validated that win by streaking through the playoffs, winning the championship, Western Conference Finals MVP, Finals MVP, and the Thunder are probably going to defend their title next year. So, like, I get all those things. Like, there's really no way to hash it out. Like, I admit those things are all going to be the case. So, like, really, and Jokic is just going to, simmer in mediocrity for the next 5 years, where they're like maybe winning the second round to get to the West Finals, maybe not. I'm not a proponent for him to do anything else. Like, I don't want him to jump ship and go join, when LeBron retires. I don't want him to go join Luka in LA. Like, I don't want him to, like, beg Giannis to come to Denver. Like, I don't want those things to happen, but realistically, like, that's the path. Like, I've just laid out what's going to happen over the next 5 years. So you'll just have to decipher what you think individually is most valuable to you.
What do you think about KD coming to the Nuggets?
I actually think that might happen in this summer. I think that would make already the Nuggets, they're the second rated net offense right now in the NBA for the whole year. Without Jokic, whatever, they're like 20 points worse on offense. I think if KD would come, even at, what is he going to be, 38 next year?
30. Oh, damn. I don't know.
So you're gonna let that slide, but when LeBron allowed Luka to come,
That's
in
not
here,
the same thing.
I mean, come on, Scap. I mean,
come on, man. Come on, man.
Inconsistent, Scap. Come
Durant's
on, you cannot
37.
allow Jokic. You cannot allow
so
Jokic.
Katie's gonna be 37, I think.
Hold on. You can't. Scap, hold on. Time on. You can't.
I just said I don't like it. I just said that.
You can't give Jokic a pass for getting a Kevin Durant who's still a top 10 player in this league, but then get on LeBron James back because he got another top 10 player in the league, and Luka Doncic on the court.
I said I don't like that. I said I'm not asking for Jokic to recruit top line like elite level help. I don't like that. But it's also going to be, look, at the end of the day, at the end of when things are all over for Jokic, he retires and he's got 1 MVP or 4 MVPs maybe. Let's say he's got 3. Let's say he squeezes another. You got 4 MVPs and 1 championship. And we're trying to evaluate, like, where does he stand all time? Like, it's going to be very difficult for someone like me to make the case that he's not a fringe top 10 all-time player because he never had a viable supporting cast for any, like, significant length of time. Whereas, like, for me, like, LeBron, I can argue against LeBron. Like, he's got 4 rings, but, like, he never really won a challenging title, right? Like, for Hakeem, I put Hakeem above LeBron because he just didn't have the help. Hakeem's 2 rings mean more to me than LeBron's 4 rings. Like, I don't like
is by your logic, is Kawhi over LeBron?
No, I would not put Kawhi over LeBron. No,
but he didn't.
He was rolled by one of them. I mean,
Kawhi wasn't sustainable enough. He didn't play long enough in the NBA at a high enough level.
Hold on, Scott. Does Kawhi championship with the Raptors mean more than LeBron James?
Kawhi's that one is better than any single championship LeBron's ever won, for sure.
Okay. So why is it Kawhi what LeBron did?
Right.
Because Kawhi's played what? How many games? Like 60% of his career games in his for his entire career. What's he averaging per?
Let's just give him 75. Let's just give him 75.
I think it's way below 75.
Yeah,
but like regardless, like Kawhi has no league MVPs. He's jumped around. Hold on. He's jumped around.
Come on, Scap, time out. You just sat there and said with your debate with Gil that you don't care about MVPs because Kobe was top 5 in MVP conversation the majority of his career. Yeah. So
how many top 5 finishes does Kawhi have? How many top 5 finishes does Kawhi have?
Probably like 2.
He had one in 2015, 2016, 2017, 2016, 2017.
That's it. That might be it. I'm gonna be honest.
I think
maybe 2019 if you want to be like
or 2019.
One of the, like I don't know, one of those.
Yeah. So
not many.
I mean, why are you picking? Hold on, Scott. Why are you picking and choosing when to value MVPs?
Bro, I'm not. I'm saying he.
So why you bring up?
Hold on. To me, Kobe Bryant was the best player in the NBA for like 6 or 7 years. You can make a case Kawhi Leonard was never the best player in the NBA.
Yeah, one MVP though. Yeah, one MVP.
Because he got cheated when he was top 5 11 times.
Okay, and I think Kawhi was robbed of the MVP too as well.
What year?
2017.
What year should Kawhi Leonard have been MVP?
2017 he got robbed.
2017
he got robbed.
I'm gonna have to.
I'm saying that's a rob is a stretch, bro.
How is that not a robbery? They gave an MVP to agenda.
But he also could have got Harden. Could have got it. I mean,
in 2017.
Scap, he averaged 25 points per game, shooting 50, 40, 80. Will give you 2 steals and a block a game, right? He led the Spurs to 67 wins that year, and he was top.
Guys, that was Harden though that year.
Hold on. He did not win 67 games in 2017.
How many games they won?
They won 62.
Wait, we're saying 2017, 2018?
No, 2016, 17, 16, 17.
They won 67 the year before. Where they lost to the Thunder, but
they won. Kawhi should have won MVP.
How many games did they win? They won 60
double year.
Yeah, exactly. That's an agenda. He won it on an agenda. That's my point.
But you could also argue for Harden. You could have argued for Harden too.
Listen.
You say he got robbed as a stretch, bro.
My main point with Scap is that the same criteria that he bought up, you can apply it to Kawhi and LeBron. So why is
That's
Kawhi
not true.
LeBron?
Kawhi Leonard did not do it at the level Kobe Bryant did for the length of time that Kobe Bryant did it. What? You're saying he's the best player 1 year, maybe. I don't even think he was the best player in the NBA at any point.
What do you mean?
I don't think Kawhi Leonard was ever the best player in the NBA.
He don't have the longevity, Mook. That's all he's saying, bro.
2019.
2017. Clearly the best player that year.
He was the best two-way player in the league. 2019 led the team to win a championship. You say that he was never the best player in the world or never had an argument?
I don't think he was ever the best player in the
NBA.
I don't want to go down. Why are we going down a Kawhi Leonard versus LeBron James path?
Mookie's a Kawhi.
Hold on. Scap. Let me say, hold on. Scap, let me tell you this too, Scap. You said that he don't have the longevity. Well, if it's all about longevity, why is LeBron over Kobe?
No, he didn't say that.
I said peak.
Scap, if it's all about the longevity and the peak, why isn't LeBron over Kobe? Because people can argue that he had a better peak than Kobe and had a better longevity than Kobe.
I think Kobe's peak is top 2 or 3 all time behind only Jordan and arguably Hakeem.
No, but Mookie, you used everybody's collective argument. You said, well, yeah.
But Scap, if it's all about longevity, Scap, then why do you have Hakeem over LeBron?
Hang on. I never said, you're putting words in my mouth. I never said it was all about longevity. Never. I said,
so you brought up the longevity to the end of cap between Kawhi and LeBron. But why you're not doing it with Hakeem and LeBron? I'm not saying
longevity in terms of how good are you at 40. I'm saying like at your absolute peak. Like Kobe was in his absolute peak like 10 years. He was the best. To me, he was the best player like 7 or 8 years. But anyway, hold on. Let me just make the point since you're bringing up the Kawhi Leonard and all this shit. So you personally, Mookie, do you have Kawhi Leonard over LeBron James all time?
No, I'm just using your logic against you. I don't have Kawhi with LeBron. I'm just saying the way that I'm saying I think Kawhi's peak is up there with LeBron.
Kawhi's
James.
peak is better than LeBron.
I think
but here's the thing that I don't like about Kawhi. If I may, to piggyback on something I had a rant about earlier. Kawhi Leonard's a little bitch too, like the rest of them. He forced his way out of San Antonio. He went to the Raptors where he won a title, albeit because Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant both got hurt for that.
The Raptors were also injured, and Kawhi was on one leg. You keep forgetting that. Kawhi was injured.
And then he went to LA, but he didn't just go to LA. He had to call his LA brethren, his buddy who was born and raised in LA just like him, and he had to ask Paul George with 3 years left on his deal to, like a snake, like all these other Weasley snake players like KD and LeBron. Then Paul George went and demanded a trade to go to LA to play them. It's garbage. They're all good. These are all garbage tactics we've deployed. So the way we even got on the Kawhi Leonard train was because I'm talking about it's going to be tough to judge Nikola Jokic at the end of the day because he's not going to have the right amount of supporting cast.
But Scap,
I don't like him begging for help like all the other players.
Scap, you're wrong. First of all, he didn't force his way to go to Toronto Raptors. They traded him. He wanted to go to LA.
I said he left to go to LA, and he made Paul George force his way out of Oklahoma City.
No,
he said force his way. He said force out of San Antonio, not to the Raptors.
Right, and then he forced his way out of San Antonio.
Hold on. You say he forced his way to San Antonio to the Raptors. No, he didn't. He got traded there. He wanted to go to the
out of San Antonio. Okay, he demanded a trade, and the Raptors took the chance of taking him for 1 year.
Yes, because the Spurs doctors lied to Kawhi.
Yeah, they lied to him about his injury.
And try to sit there and try to count who is his injury and how is his injury how do you feel with his body. His whole teammates and Tony Parker came out to the national media and sat there and said Kawhi injury is faker than it was. It's nowhere near stronger than what I was.
When it was a very
right. Injury. Kawhi Leonard, hold on, Miss Zach. Kawhi Leonard went to Toronto and one season. This was faster than what LeBron James did in the Eastern Conference. This is faster than anybody did in the Eastern Conference. In one season, he led the Raptors to a historical playoff run, and had a historical playoff run, averaging over 30, third all time in the most points scored in the playoffs, third all time in the most points scored in the playoff series. Led him to a deep postseason run with one leg. Outplayed Giannis, the guy that you sit there and constantly prop up. Right, he outplayed him in the conference finals, won a championship, beat Steph Curry as well, led the NBA in 2019 in PER, right? And you don't give him no credit, and you're gonna sit there and just get on him because he went to the Clippers. He went to the Clippers. He didn't ask to for the Clippers to trade away all their assets to get Paul George.
He asked Paul George to come.
Give me Paul George.
He asked Paul George to come.
Yeah,
but he
didn't tell them
left
on his deal with Oklahoma City.
But Scott, he didn't tell the Clippers to trade all their
No, hold on, whatever, Mookie. Do you know what Paul George did the year before in Oklahoma City?
He was third in MVP voting.
He was third in MVP. He was first team defense. He was, I think he was second team All NBA and first team defense and third in MVP voting. He was a top 5 player that year, and he forced that guy to come join him with 3 years left on his contract. It's garbage. It's trash.
That wasn't even his first choice. That wasn't even his first choice.
He wasn't even a top. Hold on, Zach. He wasn't even a top 3 player. He wasn't even a top 5 player that year. He wasn't better than LeBron.
By every tangible metric that year, he was.
No. It's not about the metric. Let's talk the game of basketball. Stop using.
And then they got Harden.
Hold on. You talking about Harden when he's out of his prime? What are we doing here?
I'm just saying, as a third option.
He's out of his prime. That's not 2019 Harden. That's like sitting there saying Kobe got Steve Nash.
As a third option, though, Harden wasn't Steve Nash level there. Harden's having a good year this year.
That's like sitting there saying Kobe got Steve Nash or Kobe got Dwight Howard. What are we doing here? They're out of their primes. But Kobe still lost with Steve Nash and Dwight. Do you tax Kobe for that? No, you say Kobe's out of his prime. Those players are out of this prime. Kawhi Leonard got Paul George. Paul George, yes, he was a top 10 player, but he wasn't a top 5 player. He didn't put a gun in the Clippers' head and say, oh, yeah, you better go get Paul George or what? He said, go get Paul George because I need somebody to go play with him.
James Harden this season of him being out of his prime when he went to LA. I'm talking about like when he went to LA, which like, I mean, this is now his second year with the Clippers, but this season he's averaging 23 points per game, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds.
And he's shooting a dismal 40% from the field. That is hot trash, Scott. That is hot trash.
But yet Jamal Murray last year, when he did that in the playoffs, you blame Nikola Jokic for that. When Jamal Murray shot 40% in the playoffs last year. And that's the best player Nikola Jokic has ever played with. So this is my ultimate point. This is my ultimate point, Mookie.
I didn't blame Jokic for how Jamal Murray struggled. I didn't blame him. I sat there and said, I was talking about how the defensive coverages on how they guard Jokic. But my point is to sit there and say is this: how dare you get on Kawhi when he's the only player in NBA history to win a DPOY twice? Well, he's up there with Hakeem, a guy that you praise. 2 DPOYs, 2 Finals MVPs, 2 champions. Scap, can you ever name someone that ever shot 60, 40, 90 in a playoff series?
Bro, are we really saying that when he was on the Spurs team when he got that Finals MVP? Bro, how many points did he score? How many points per game did he score in that Finals with the Spurs when they won that title against LeBron?
He averaged 18 points a game in the Finals, which was tied for the Tony Parker in scoring. But let's tell you what, Scap, he was the defensive anchor on the team. He was the best defender on that team. Tim Duncan was old, washed up, out of his prime. He had LeBron, the guy that you sit there and cook, shooting 35% from the field. He had LeBron James shooting sub 30% from the field, Scap. And when Kawhi checked in the game, LeBron James was scared, right? Kawhi Leonard defensive impact while also his efficient scoring. Do you know Kawhi has the highest true shooting percentage in the finals for a Finals MVP, Scap?
Hang on, I would like to see the entire run that year by the San Antonio Spurs. Hang on, I want to look up the entire playoff run. This is for the whole playoffs, 23 games. Okay, Kawhi Leonard in those playoffs with the Spurs when they won the title in 2013, 14 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, and oh my God, that can't be right. 1.7 assists, 14 points per game, 1.7 assists per game, and 6.7 rebounds in 23 games played in the 2013 NBA playoffs when they won the championship. Congratulations, man. Like, what a great playoff run he had. And really deserving. Yeah, like he was an elite. Obviously, he was the best player on that team in 23 games in the playoffs, averaging 14 points and 1.5 assists per game. You got me. You got me on that.
Scap, if you look at his true shooting percentage, was the best on the team. He shot, you look at his true shooting percentage, Scap, he shot 60.2 true shooting percentage in the team from any qualifying starters that's playing more than 20-something minutes. If you look at his win shares per 48, he led the San Antonio Spurs in win shares per he led the San Antonio Spurs and win shares per 48 for that team that won a championship. If you look at win shares,
how do we get on Kawhi Leonard again?
Because you say you didn't respect Kawhi.
I don't.
Why?
Listen,
2 championships, 2 Finals MVPs. Hold on.
Okay, listen. Hold on. Let's compare Kawhi to Jokic. All right, let's look at that. At the end of the day, he has a championship with the Spurs, who had 4 Hall of Famers on it, and he scored 14 points per game on the run. He was the key defensive cog. But that's his one title. His other title is on the Raptors, where he went through the East fine and then played a team that lost Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson for basically the whole second half of that series in the finals. But still, fine, whatever. That's 2. He's got those 2 rings. Then he got, you just said, I won't even look up the numbers, and we won't even argue top 5 player on Paul George. You said he was a top 10 player. Like, Nikola Jokic has never been close to having this level of supporting cast. So at the end of the day, when you look back at it, and I look at like the supporting cast of just Kawhi Leonard versus Nikola Jokic, it's not even remotely close. Kawhi Leonard has had exponentially more help than Nikola Jokic has. So, like, how am I supposed to compare, and how am I supposed to criticize Nikola Jokic for only having 1 at the end of his career, which he will, when he's never had the amount of players that he needs to remotely compete, but he still somehow found a way to get 1. But then it sucks because I don't want to root for him to do this garbagey super team hunting stuff like LeBron did, like Steph did, like Durant did, like, yes, Kawhi did. But, like, think about it. Close your eyes right now and think about if Jokic got on the horn and was like, hey, Giannis, hey, Luka, like, why don't you come play with me in Denver and let's see what happens? Or, you know what, Denver, I've given you 10 good years. You haven't surrounded me with anything. I would like you to trade me to the LA Lakers. What if Nikola Jokic deployed those tactics? I would have to say he's a bum and a loser, like I have with all these other guys. But he would win a lot more. He would win a lot more than any of these other guys. If he was playing with the supporting cast that all these other guys have, he would have a hell of a lot more rings than that.
Hey, Scap, you got Kawhi over KD, right?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I do.
Okay. I was about to say, because if you said otherwise, you wasn't being consistent. But this is what I would say, Scap. Would you agree that Kawhi had a top 10 player with the Raptors when he won a championship?
No, I would not say he had a top 10, but I think you undervalue that team. You undervalue that you undervalue Pascal Siakam that was on that team.
Hold on. Kawhi had no top 10 players when he won a championship in Toronto. Yet he had a more impressive playoff run than Nikola Jokic ever had. Kawhi Leonard in that playoff run averaged 30 a game, shooting almost 50% from the field, led the NBA in PER and win shares, right? And even lead him to a historical defense.
Wait, pull it up. Let's look at those numbers. Let's pull up Kawhi. You pull up Kawhi's, I'll pull up Jokic's from 2023.
Yeah, but Jokic played weak competition in 2023. Kawhi played a stacked 76ers team with multiple All-Stars and Ben Simmons.
They played the Orlando Magic in the first round.
Who was a top 10 defense that year. Okay, now let's look at Kawhi.
Look at the numbers. You want to look at you said Jokic has never done anything like Kawhi. Let's look at the numbers that year.
Okay, let's look at Kawhi's.
Okay.
Let's look at Kawhi. Kawhi that year. Let me go zooming in for you, my brother. Kawhi Leonard that year, he averaged 30 a game, shooting almost 50
from the field, 38% from the three-point line, 88% from the free throw line as well, right? That's what he averaged. He gave you 4 assists a game, 9 rebounds a game, which is crazy. 1.7 steals a game, right? This is what he gave you. Now, when I go on his advanced analytics, right? Let's go into the advanced.
Okay.
Let's go into the advanced, my brother. The advanced. He led the playoffs in offensive win shares, defensive win shares, and win shares. Now let's go to the Nicole. Oh, he also led in I guess he didn't lead in PR. He led in PR in 2017, 2016. Obviously one of the best players in the league. So let's go on Nikola Jokic. Let's see if Jokic can lead in that playoffs and win shares.
No. Let's look at the standard stats first. Let's look at the standard stats first.
Yeah, we're gonna look at the standard stats. Yeah, we're gonna look at the standard.
Because he also scored 30 per game.
Let me look at Nikola Jokic. So let's look at Jokic. And after this, I'm gonna see this. Jokic averaged 30 a game, 14 rebounds. You see this?
30? No, we don't see it, but yes, 30 points per game, 13.5 rebounds. All right, we see it now. 30 points per game, 13.5 rebounds, 9.5 assists on 55% shooting from the field for an entire 20-game playoff run, winning the title. And let me tell you, he became that season the first player in NBA playoff history to lead a postseason in points, rebounds, and assists. No one's ever done that before, ever, until Luka last year did it again, joining Nikola Jokic. And when you want to look at his advanced stats that year, he led the NBA in value over replacement, box plus minus, win share per 48.
Hold on. Let me ask you something. You think that run is better than Kawhi's in 2019?
I do.
So Kawhi, who led a historical defensive team with the Raptors in 2019, because the playoffs, the Raptors was a historical defense. Kawhi was the best defender on that team. You think Jokic had the more defensive impact than Kawhi Leonard?
I never said defensive impact. I said he had the better total impact, the better total run.
Okay,
he averaged bro. You can talk about meaningless. You talk about his meaningless stats this year and him at like cooking crappy teams. He averaged nearly he was 0.5 of a point of an assist per game off of a 30-point triple-double in the playoffs.
But he did that against
14 and 10 nearly.
He did that against all playing teams. Kawhi actually played real contenders like the Warriors, the Bucks, who was a 60-win team. Name me a 60-win team did the Jokic beat in that playoff run.
He beat Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Anthony Davis,
hold on. That's a lie. They wasn't.
And Bam
Adebayo. Hold on, Scap. They wasn't 60 wins. The Suns did not win 60 games that year. They won 45 games. So name me one team that Jokic beat that was a 60-win ball club that had a top 3 defense in the league.
Name me when Kawhi Leonard led the league in scoring points and rebounds, points, and assists in an entire playoff run.
Well, obviously,
hold on. I bet his advanced, if we look at the advanced, if you look at his PER, VORP, BPM, and win share, I bet they're all higher for his playoff run than Kawhi's was during his.
No, I don't think. I think Kawhi. You hear me? I think Kawhi was a better scorer. Hold on, Kawhi was a better scorer. Kawhi also, and name me a series where Jokic shot 60, 40, 90. He's never had a series where he shot 60, 40, 90 and averaged over 30. Also, Scap, just to let you know, the luxurious of names that Kawhi joined in that 2019 playoffs, the most points scored in a single playoff series, Kawhi was third all-time in 2019 conference finals. The most points scored in a postseason run, Kawhi was third in 2019 with 732. Where is Jokic on these advanced scoring numbers? Where is Jokic on this in his playoff run? He's nowhere to be found, my guy.
Jokic is like the number 1 BPM player in league history in regular season and playoffs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Hold on, Scott. I gotta go. But it was a pleasure talking to you. But I gotta ask you, what are your top 10 players all time?
Honestly, I can't. I cannot do the top 10. I'm working. I've been working on it's going to be a 35-minute video. I go into very specific detail of why I have players where I have them, but I will. I've mentioned my top 5. I'll give you my top 5 again. It is Jordan, Kobe, Kareem, Duncan, and Hakeem in that specific order.
Okay, what's the rest of it? If you had to think of your top of the head,
like I said, I can't do the full top 10.
You did it before. You did it before.
Who are you wondering? Are you wondering the specific player if he's in my top 10 or not?
No, I'm not. I'm just asking you top 10. What's your 6 to 10?
I'll say there's some obvious players in the mix there with Magic and Bird. I have Wilt in there somewhere. I have a lot of people don't, but I have Bill Russell in there, and Bill Russell will for always be somewhere in my top 10.
Okay. All right, Scott. Good talking to you, my brother. We can do this again, man. Hopefully you pull up to us on playback, man. We be live on playback, man. Salute to everybody for pulling up and watching, man. Thanks for everybody pulling up. Appreciate you, Scott, man. Real talk.
All pleasure, Mookie. My pleasure to be here with you. Thank you so much for having me on. The whole panel, guys, thank you so much. Everyone, all of your comments, even the ones that were negative towards me, thank you, guys. And I see King Jay is no longer here. King Jay, keep doing what you're doing out there, brother. Keep fighting the good fight against these guys.
Keep fighting the Joker fight. That's all I do.